listener line, it's going to be 712-432-7848. Let's see, server number 2, our pictures are good. Fantastic. All right, awesome. On YouTube Live, if you want to watch YouTube Live, I'm going to be putting up, I got all of our pictures consolidated into one file. I'll be putting all the pictures that I have from the Bundy Ranch standoff. And there we go. YouTube is running live, and 432-7848. Okay, and there we go. There we go. Fantastic. YouTube's just streaming through. Beautiful. Oh, I think we got just about a minute left here before we kick this sucker off. I'm going to be taking your calls early, ladies and gentlemen, at 218-862-9829. So make sure you get in the queue. We got a first-time caller there in the 516 area code. So be ready. Here we go.
30-second mark coming right up. 30 seconds to go. Doubles live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Where are our rights right now?
They're wherever you're willing to draw a line and say, you cannot come across this line or I'll kill you. That's where your rights are. And if you don't understand that, folks, then it's beyond my capability to explain it to you. They will get away with whatever you let them get away with. And until you draw the line and you're willing to die for what you believe in, they will keep taking and taking and taking and taking until there is no more to take.
That's it.
It's all gone, and you're a slave.
There's absolutely no one willing to stop the decimation of our country. The collapse is here. Bundy Ranch has been won. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to arrest the ones who have broken the law. It's time to use the Second Amendment for which it was intended. Tyranny hunting and communist overthrow. Live from the Overthrow Bunker in FEMA Region 9 in Southern California. I'm your host, P. Santilli, and you are listening to The P. Santilli Show. Yes.
Welcome to The P. Santilli Show. The commentary and incitement you're about to hear is based on opinion, truth, and fact, and is meant to be used as an educational tool to fight the New World Order, the global elite, and the eugenics agenda. The P. Santilli Show will never be censored by any corporation, and Mr. Santilli is certainly not beholden to the opinion of any of his sponsors. The opinions of his guests may not necessarily reflect the opinion of Mr. Santilli. Further, Mr. Santilli would like to urge his listeners to remain calm throughout the collapse, obey the Constitution, act lawfully, responsibly, and at their own risk of being brutalized by tyranny when taking any action after listening to the P. Santilli Show. Also be advised, this program may contain adult content and parental discretion is strongly advised. It's time to throw away your chips and your Diet Cokes, so cling to your Bibles, grab your guns and your bug-out bags, and get ready for the P. Santilli Show. P. Santilli telling you the truth, whether you like it or not.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh, yeah, I was fumbling for my microphone. That's okay, though. I have my microphone. I actually had two microphones. I had one on for our backline people. Welcome. Hopefully, Ashley's connected. Just tell me in my ear here if you could. Okay, excellent. Fantastic. Good. We're all connected. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is episode number 684. 684. And today is Thursday, April 17th, 2014. And the Pete Santilli Show is broadcast live on the Rents Network. Very proudly on the Rents Network. And if hopefully you got a chance to hear the Rents Network presentation we did last night. I had the honor and privilege of being on Jeff Rent's show with Mr. Cliven Bundy. Cliven Bundy took time out of his very busy schedule to speak to Jeff Rents. And then he spent about 20 minutes with us. And if you missed that particular episode, go back to our YouTube channel. We'll also post a copy of it. But go to our YouTube channel, Jeff Rents with Cliven Bundy. You'll see that at Peter Santilli TV. You can hear that entire episode of the Jeff Rents show. So please check that out. Now, hold on a second. Let me see if I can get myself squared away here. All right, now we yesterday, man, something happened with Bluehost, which is I think they're the third largest internet company. They were completely out yesterday, completely out. By the way, I was going to go to the 516 area code. You guys are like coming on, dropping off, coming on, dropping off. If there's a problem with the line, let me know. But I was just going to go to a first-time caller. I have another first-time caller here in the 217. You stay right there. Don't go away. And you, in the 516 area code, first-time caller, if you want to call back in, I'll take you as well. I do take first-time callers first, and everyone else welcomes you that is not a first-time caller. Of course, we put your name in our system. I will take you first at 218-862-9829. But Bluehost went completely down yesterday. The oathkeepers.org went down yesterday. And is it a coincidence that that we who have been fighting this thing at Bundy Ranch, the battle at Bundy Ranch, had their websites down, very coincidentally. I say websites. If they try to take us down through Bluehost, we actually have our servers, and here are the websites, www.gmn.is and GuerrillaMediaNetwork.com. We're also at Spreaker.com. We're on iHeartRadio, Facebook.com. We do an embed, YouTube Live, of course, worldwide affiliates. BeforeIt'sNews.com, of course. TuneIn, Stitcher, Shoutcast, Audio Realm, all the way across the board. Welcome, everyone, to the Pete Santilli Show. Now, our servers are in Iceland for very good reason, because that country actually is much more favorable to human rights and business rights, privacy rights. So therefore, we've parked our servers out there, and we do so very, very, very proudly, because here in the United States, it's much more difficult to do business. This is not this is home of the brave through what we did at the Battle of Bundy Ranch, but certainly not land of the free. Okay, we are not a free country right now, at least temporarily, until we, the people, continue to stand up and take our country back. And we're going to do that. No doubt about it. We're going to do that. Again, I'll repeat what Harry Reid said. This ain't over. It's not over. We will make sure that Harry Reid is locked up in a freaking canister somewhere. Him and Nancy Pelosi can just, do whatever they want to each other. And they will be held accountable. We'll temporarily put them in a containment vessel until we can get our country back. We want to make sure that they have nothing to do with profiting off of solar panels and billions of dollars that are coming from China and stuff like that. So those guys have committed treason against the United States of America, and we're going to throw them in the freaking clink. Okay, so Harry Reid, it's not over. It's certainly not over. Now, let's go to the 217 area code. 217 area code. You're live. What's your first name? I'll put you in our system.
My name is Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. Welcome. What's going on?
Well, I'm just so thrilled with you, Pete. I, of course, am a first-time listener and caller because I just found you on Saturday and watched your live feed. And I just have to tell you, I mean, you made this happen. But what I wanted to say first is, because I know you haven't been making a big point of it, you've just been asking kindly. And I haven't done it yet because I only get paid once a month. So I'm going to do it next week. But people really, really need to donate to your station. If they could send in $5, if they could send in $1, you would have $1 million, because I know yesterday you said you had 1 million callers. I'm not being prompted to do this, people. I just feel like if we don't support people like Pete, we're screwed. And I just wanted to say thank you. I've also been on your Facebook page and posted a couple things about, liberals. We have a chance to bring liberals to our side with the abuse of the cattle, Pete. I've been posting those pictures on my Facebook page. I mean, every day, and I do have some animal rights people, because I used to be a Democrat, but I'm not anymore. And I posted those pictures to one of the big animal rights people on my page, and he sent me back this picture of a hunter with 2 rabbits and said, "Who's a terrorist?" and put a question mark after that. And I'm like, what I also did, I wanted to encourage people to do. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I need to mention this. Do you know what we've been in contact with PETA? You know what PETA's position is on it? I
was going to say that next, PETA. I went on PETA's website and I filed a report with a link to those pictures about Bundy Ranch. And if everybody could do that, it's real easy to do. Just go to their website, click on make a report, and you fill out the form, send it. If they get inundated with these reports, they can still ignore it, but it's going to show people what PETA really is.
And you can call me PETA Santilli. How about that? Hey,
change your name, right, Pete?
Yeah. I will gladly, because PETA, guess what their response was? You're going to be hearing more about this, okay? Because Patrick Henningsen is writing up a report. PETA's they're not real big meat eaters, they said. So their support of cattle would be inconsistent with their vegetable eating propensities.
My God! Then why did they have a section on there for farm animal abuse report?
Yeah, why? They don't want to weigh in on the Bundy Ranch thing, because cattle, the cattle that are raised are used because I believe steak is good. We are steak and potatoes people, by the way. But here's the thing.
You know what?
Yes. We are steak and potatoes people. These are animals. These are living, breathing animals that have been abused by the federal government. PETA doesn't want to weigh in on it. You see, because they believe that they're so huge that they can just pick and choose which battles. Now, here's another interesting thing. Did you know that the desert tortoise sustains itself by consuming cow dung? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I knew it wasn't a problem, first of all. I knew it was a smoke screen. But I didn't know that particular one.
Yeah, go look it up. It's a very interesting fact that the desert tortoise sustains itself on cow dung. So removing those cows cuts off the tortoise's lifeblood. But Sandy, thank you so much for calling in. Do me a favor, stay right there, okay? I'm gonna hold you over the break. It's a couple-minute break here, and we will be back here momentarily, ladies and gentlemen. And I do want to mention something very, very important about what it's going to take to keep us alive. Keeping us alive financially is very important. Now, we have the listeners to be able to support this thing. Unfortunately, only a very small percentage of our listeners are responding to the call. Now, what am I asking for? Is it $1? Is it $5? Whatever you can afford, if you send it to us. If all of our listeners did that, we would not have to beg for the capital. But we're in a position now to where it's literally coming out of my pocket. We have a small portion of paid by our listenership, but it doesn't nearly cover our expenses. So, Sandy, stay right there. We'll be back right after this message. Infidel Body Armor, made in the USA, an Oath Keeper and disabled veteran-owned business in Texas, selling to U.S. patriots concerned about any type of ballistic threats when it hits the fan. Not just law enforcement and military. The engineers at Infidel have designed a lightweight, wearable, and durable body armor with life-saving reliability, made with military-grade steel and capable of withstanding hit after hit from high-velocity, large-caliber rounds. From rapid deployment systems to tailored models, Infidel Body Armor has all the right gear, especially suited for any grid down
down situation. Infidel body armor sold at a fraction of the typical cost for police and military gear, which is designed to be replaced after ballistic impact. Remember, in the middle of societal collapse, replacement ceramic and Kevlar will not be easily found. Infidel's armor combo with plate carrier, front and back plate start at $375. Visit GorillaMediaNetwork.com/infidel to check out Infidel.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company.
The saga of Tahiti Joe's hot sauces is a very tasty story. Tahiti Joe went exploring the South Seas for the spices and was easily sidetracked, but don't tell his lady.
Then, after a few months, Tahiti Joe blended a beautiful array of spices with clam juice and honey.
It had a sweet tropical flavor, and with the heat of the peppers, it reminded him of the islands.
Tahiti Joe had to name the new sauce, and Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces was born. Try it as a chicken wing sauce.
Barbecue, marinade,
or use it to create a delicious Polynesian Mary.
So, visit www.TahitiJoesHotSauces.com today to satisfy your cravings for
tropical taste sensation.
www.TahitiJoesHotSauces.com.
Nobel Prize winner Alexis Carrel, cell biology researcher, discovered a detoxified and nourished cell lives in a state of eternal youth. Clean cells will result in improved energy, mood, blood sugar, liver function, and skin health. Also, you can lose fat and keep or gain muscle and reduce or eliminate inflammation and more. To discover how to detoxify and nourish the 100 trillion cells of your body, call this free recorded message at 866-844-1047. That's 866-844-1047.
Okay, and I want Sandy to join me back again. And Sandy, this is, and I thank you very much for supporting this message. Even if somebody, hold on. Excuse me. Sure. No cough button. Sorry about that.
Bless you.
even if somebody contributed, if somebody said, you know what, I have $1 million to contribute, and they contributed to Gorilla Media Network, that would go directly towards. I mean, we have big plans. I want to get out on the road for a month with an RV bus. We actually have a person that's going to be donating their RV, but I need to cover fuel expenses and stuff like that. Even if we had somebody donate a lot of money, that would go directly towards us having a constant round-the-clock person out. I mean, I hope, Sandy, that you trust that I would be out there fighting for what we're trying to fight for here. That's what.
Proving it when you were out there when no one else was out. But I wanted to say just one thing to people, and I know you said $1 or $5. Really serious people, $5. Just get on there and give them $5. I know you think that's not enough, and you'd rather not give anything than to give so less. But really, just do $5. $5 times $1 million. There you go. So don't ever think that $5 is not enough.
Well, we have conservatively. Listen to this, okay? The other day we had conservatively, and I'm not. These are not bragging rights. I want you to know what the numbers are. We had in the millions of listeners the other day. I called for donations, and the donors very, very generously. Some gave $50, $25, and I had accumulated $350. With a lot of people that were listening in. Now, this is what happens. Whenever I put a call out for donations, everybody thinks that somebody else is going to do it, and they stop, and our donations actually go down. Therefore, I have to pull this money out of pocket. I have to scrap and scrape and do all kinds of stuff just to keep us on the air. So thank you so much for supporting the message. Thank you for your contributions. And every single penny, whether it be $1 or $1 million, is going to go towards keeping us, keeping the information flowing and keeping us to the point to where we're out there punching these proverbial crooks in the nose.
Absolutely. And one more thing about PETA. I love it.
Very quickly.
Go on their website and make a report, people. If they get millions of reports, they may still ignore it, but then people will finally know who these people are. They're not for animals. They're not. They have a political agenda. Don't believe them. They don't care about these animals. Apparently, didn't they just prove it?
That's right. Sandy, continue to call in. If you come up with an idea or you want to encourage our listeners to do stuff like this, call back in. Stay close to us, okay?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to be been on your Facebook page. So, I was saying, maybe we need to tone the libtard rhetoric down because we are getting liberals. I got 5 of my liberal friends who aren't cuckoos onto the Bundy Ranch Facebook page last night. So if we start calling them libtards, and I was one too, Pete. I was one. I understand. But maybe if we just encourage animal rights people that really do care about animals and not PETA, I think this is a good opportunity that God is giving us to bring our two sides together finally. And it's the animals that very government stole is the issue that can do it.
Yeah, and another thing that they need to recognize, and I'm going to move on to another caller, that the other thing that they need to recognize is that their talking points that they're given are being fed to them by another entity. For instance, saying that Clive and Bundy didn't pay his taxes. That's not true. That's absolutely false. Saying that he's a multimillionaire, that's not true. I've been to the ranch. He is not a multimillionaire. That family, shoot, you would think with as many family members as they have, they could pool all their money together. They're not multimillionaires. That's a fact. That's not the truth. They are fighting.
I heard some idiot today say, "Oh, I don't know. It may be not you." Somebody said, "Oh, they figured, $2,000 ahead of times how many?" And so they think he's rich. That's how these simplistic people think.
So it's not true. We need to do our best to report the truth. And yes, stay on that Facebook page and let's engage with. And I say, libtards, I'm fighting for them as well. We're all fighting for them as well. Whether they know it or not, we really, really are. I mean, they're going to benefit from the work we're doing. They just don't realize it.
I know, and I used to be a libtard, so I know, Pete. I know exactly where they're coming from. I know exactly their talking points because I was one until Obama came in.
But you feel comfortable with what we're doing, that it's the right thing for all of the American people, regardless of your political persuasion, right?
I know. That's why I think the animal issue can bring both sides together. I really, truly believe God has given us an opportunity here. We need to reach out to those people. Absolutely, Pete. And I will continue to, be on your Facebook page. And also, people, the Bundy Ranch Facebook page is the only one that is the Bundy Ranch, the Bundy family. The only one, Bundy Ranch.
That's right. Okay. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Pete. Keep up the good work. I'll contribute when I get paid, hon.
Oh, thank you so much. You're a sweetheart. Thank you so much. And now you heard from Sandy. She gets paid once per month. She's going to be making a contribution. Here's the address. You ready? If you want to send a check or money order or even a dollar bill, 13312 Ranchero Road, Suite 18-134. Oak Hills, California, 92344. You can also go to the donate page. It has the address there as well. If you have any difficulty making a donation via our ATM, credit card, or PayPal links, you can always send a check directly to us. It will come to us. So here, let's go to, we have next in the 706 area code. What's your first name? I'll put you in our system. 706 area code. What's your first name?
All right, Four Winds. Hi there, Pete. Great job you're doing over there. I'm over here on John Lear's site. We've been discussing this at length and backing your play and putting all the links up there for you. The big thing here we feel is that this is all a red herring. What the deal is the fracking and the solar energy, and Wang
is
ENN company who's the largest gas supplier in China, by the way.
Yes.
But he would come in here and scoop up the solar energy and all the side deals promised by
we're gonna take
Dirty
a break.
Harry and got handed his hat. Did he ever get his $5 million back?
Listen, I'm not going to cut you off. I'm going to let you speak your piece here. But here's the deal. Give me your first name again. I'm going to hold you over the break. What's your first name?
Oh, I'm sorry. Four Winds.
Four Winds. Stay right there, okay? I'm going to bring you back.
T-H-O-R.
Tor. T-H-O-R.
Tor. S-T-H-O-R. 4 Winds, yeah.
Fantastic. Stay right there.
Thanks, man.
All right, we will be back with more of your calls, and guess what? I'm going to tell you what, you are in for a treat. James Traficant is coming on the show. He's a former sheriff, former congressman, former, excuse the expression, Cayune's buster. And if you don't know what KILDEs are, you need to go Google it, I think.
Welcome to a real minute of information with Life Change Tea. Thousands and thousands of people are fighting flus, colds, viruses, and such, and are losing valuable time at work or just plain old feeling lousy. Did you know that just 2 8-ounce glasses of Life Change Tea can help you with flu, colds, and viruses? In fact, Life Change Tea helps with more than just flus and colds. Life Change Tea helps fight cholesterol, blood pressure, constipation, colon buildup, liver problems, and much more. Just drink 2 8-ounce glasses a day and feel the difference. Many people reorder this product every single month. The cost is about $1 a day. No gimmicks, just results. So order today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. And just so you know, one of Life Change Tea's side effects is losing weight. Health is important. Don't procrastinate. Order today at getthetea.com.
Susanna, what's the best way to stay warm this winter?
Oh, that's easy. It's Tahiti Joe's hot sauces.
Okay, but what flavor?
Well, that's not so easy because there's so many to choose from.
Polynesian,
Tropic garlic,
Tahiti Aki,
volcano ahi.
camel toe hot sauce,
Analyze this.
quadruple X ghost pepper hot sauce.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company. All of our sauces are made with a beautiful array of ingredients with no preservatives added and are prepared with a tropical passion for the perfect balance of flavor and heat delivered directly to you.
So warm up your winter with the tropical taste sensations from www.TahitiJoesHotSauces.com.
Tahiti Joe's hot sauces. Get some today.
Infidel Body Armor, made in the USA, an Oath Keeper and disabled veteran-owned business in Texas, selling to U.S. patriots concerned about any type of ballistic threats when it hits the fan, not just law enforcement and military. The engineers at Infidel have designed lightweight, wearable, and durable body armor with life-saving reliability, made with military-grade steel and capable of withstanding hit after hit from high-velocity, large-caliber rounds. From rapid deployment systems to tailored models, Infidel Body Armor has all the right gear, especially suited for any grid-down situation. Infidel Body Armor sold at a fraction of the typical cost for police and military gear, which is designed to be replaced after ballistic impact. Remember, in the middle of societal collapse, replacement ceramic and Kevlar will not be easily found. Infidel's armor combo with plate carrier, front and back plate start at $375. Visit GorillaMediaNetwork.com/infidel to check out Infidel's Body Armor and make sure you let them know you heard about them on the Gorilla Media Network.
With email, Skype, Facebook, Twitter, and cell phones, we're more connected than ever before. But there are huge privacy and security problems with all of them. Things are being blocked where they're needed most, where people are fighting for their beliefs. Now, wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to replace Skype, Facebook, email, and messaging with something more secure so you can communicate freely? Ready to change the world? Introducing Unseen, the first free, secure, and private communication platform. Secure chat, secure messaging, secure content delivery, like nothing else. Unseen gives you the key to freedom. You have the power to change the world. Sign up now for free to give freedom.
This is Cosmic, and you are listening to The Pete Santilli Show. Pete Santilli, telling you the truth, whether you like it or not.
What difference at this point does it make?
Okay, now I want to, before I go to Thor, I need to mention something, okay? I had a conversation with Chris Kitsey. He's the owner of BeforeIt'sNews.com and Unseen.is. And I told him, and he just found out for the first time this morning, everything has been so hectic and busy, and He congratulated us on the coverage that we did out there at Bundy Ranch. This story came to us from beforeitsnews.com. Susan Duclos published the first article. Ashley grabbed it, sent it to me. We scheduled Clive and Bundy, and history was written thereafter as a result of that. You're going to hear more about that. Now, why do I bring that up? Because some people are saying, well, Before It's News is less than blah, 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 whatever it is that they say. They think that they have to watch Julie Banderas all dolled up and wet lipstick in order to have credible news. Now, just know that this is people power news. People like you, like me, like Ashley, like Susan Duclos, we publish important news articles on beforeitsnews.com. When it's an interesting story, the people make that story rise to the top based on public interest. So Before It's News, believe it or not, is a very, very credible source of information. And also, we're just steak and potatoes people. Sometimes, we may make mistakes, but you have to be able to vet news on your own as an individual. Let's go back to Thor. Thor, you there?
Right here in Raven County, Georgia.
All right, you said $5 million for that solar panel contract. Guess what? It's $5 billion that's flowing through that system.
That was my mistake. Let me back up here just a bit on that. The whole thing, what Bundy Gate is really about is the land, the water, the mineral rights, and really not the desert tortoise.
Yes, sir.
Which has been covered and protected long ago. When Wang and E&M got in there, Wang happens to be the largest natural gas producer and cornered the market in China. He thought he could move in on the United States and scoop all this up because of his connections to Harry Reid. Harry went over there and actually toured his stuff and brought him over here. However, after they got the $5 million on that deal, instead of $39 million, he paid $5 million for the acres. He got handed his hat because First Solar, who happens to own INAUGURAL, which is the largest grid-tied complex in the United States, is the big boy on the block, okay, and pushed him aside. That's what the other thing is about on the Indian thing on there. Now you've got Warren Buffett involved in there.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many. Here's the bottom line. The interests here, if you look at it, the core interests are in the people that were involved. We had a rancher, Clive and Bundy. He had his personal property and livelihood literally stolen from him by court order. They obtained court orders in order to be able to do this to people, to human beings. Now, the whole system itself centers around propping up the interest of these corporations, of all the profits, of all the cronies that are behind this thing. There's billions and billions of dollars. Guess who sacrifices everything? That is we, the people. We lose our constitutional rights. We lose our property rights. And in some cases, fortunately, it didn't happen in this instance. Some of us will lose our lives because these people are prepared to kill us in order to advance their goals to obtain profits. Don't you agree?
Oh, I agree totally, and I'm sure it's only a coincidence because once the Oath Keepers went out and said code green and everybody lock and load, let's go. Let's vacation in Nevada.
Yes,
that their site was taken down, and this is all a smoke screen for taking back the Apache helicopters from the States. I'm sure it's all a coincidence.
They could shut down anything they want. They cannot stop people from convening where we need to convene in order to take our country back. They're not going to be able to stop us. They better have every bit of fear in their bones that they'll never, ever, ever be able to shut our souls down, will they?
Was there any type of communication shutdown aside from the airspace lockdown when you were there?
No, I was literally on my iPad receiving notification that cell towers were shut down, and I was reading it on a cell tower. Okay?
on your cell phone. So, that's good.
Yeah, so I was reporting out, there's a lot of disinformation that gets put out there. This is why they do this, okay? If there's any alternative media outlet that misreported that, you need to know that their objective, believe it or not, they'll provide 90% of the truth. But their job is to keep you engaged with them as if they're reporting, truthful information, so that they can report a couple of disinfo reports to keep people home. Okay, and there was some pretty big outlets that were doing that. That's their objective. Unfortunately, you have to be very, very suspicious of them and keep one eye open to them. Now, that doesn't take away from of course, the people that were on the ground, like David Knight, I've given him so much credit for putting himself in the line of fire. Very, very courageous man. He was with, he's with Infowars.com. I want to give him personally the credit that is so deserved for his courage and his outstanding reporting there on the ground. But there was some misreporting, unfortunately, that took place by his outlet, and they need to be called on it. But overall, David Knight, a true American hero. This is what the press, not just the quote unquote media, what the true American press under the First Amendment is all about. David Knight he exemplified heroism under the First Amendment as a member of the press. Sir, thank you so much.
Yeah, hold on. We got to give a heads up for James Yeager. He was on 5 back there and stood up for the American people and made tactical response look real good. Thanks, Brother James. Semper Fi.
James Yeager, that's right. Did you say he was on property?
He's on property. He's providing inner security for Mr. Bundy. I have direct contact by cell and am posting his updates, and he says everything is cool, brother. Relax. Do not believe the hype. And it's on my website, The Living Moon. It's direct. I have direct hourly conversations with the man. There is no shutdown on the communications.
Yep, that's right. Excellent. I didn't get a chance to meet James Yeager, but
thanks, man. Keep up the good work. And Tahiti Joe's a good friend of mine, by the way.
Yep, there you go. Thank you so much for all your support. Appreciate it.
God bless.
God bless you too. All right. God bless. I've actually been criticized recently because I've gotten closer to God, and I think that's so hilarious. Because guess what? One thing that hasn't changed is my faith in God. My close personal relationship with God. It's always been the same. It's just that now I'm speaking out more about it, and I'm sharing it with our listening audience, and I'm telling everybody that I'm relying even more on my faith, and I'm not afraid to speak out about it. We are a nation of God, and our God is going to kick the pants off of their Lucifer. Okay, we must unite. We are one nation under God. Anybody that opposes that will perish. They will perish. This is a spiritual battle. It's an important one, and one that we will not lose. God knows what's going to happen in the end. He knows what side I'm on. I'm not afraid to say so, and I will get in your face and tell you that I'm about to kick your butt if you're a Luciferian. Literally crush you, because I'm backed by the ultimate force in the entire universe, the man that brought us all here. So God bless you. God bless America. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for each and every one of us, except for the Luciferians. We'll be back with more of your calls right after this message. Don't forget, James Traficant coming up, true American hero, going to be on the show today.
Life Change Tea detoxifies. GetTheTea.com. It's only about $1 a day. GetTheTea.com. Receive more energy. GetTheTea.com. Lose weight. GetTheTea.com. It's purifying. GetTheTea.com. It works immediately. GetTheTea.com. It's too easy. GetTheTea.com. We challenge you. GetTheTea.com. What's the phone number? 928-308-0408. What did you say? 928-308-0408. I didn't get that. 928-308-0408. Will it work? Yes. GetTheTea.com. Unmatched. GetTheTea.com. This gets in your head. GetTheTea.com. That's the idea.
The Guerrilla Media Network is proud to announce that we have a 24-hour listener line for mobile phones. The number to dial is 712-432-7848, and there's no cost for the call. The calls use only mobile minutes and avoids costly data rate charges. If you have unlimited minutes, the call is absolutely free. 24 hours a day, 7 days per week. You can listen to the Guerrilla Media Network listener line. Just dial 712-432-7848. Coast to coast, 24/7. The Guerrilla Media Network is the #1 alternative to the alternative media. Put us on speed dial, 712-432-7848.
With email, Skype, Facebook, Twitter, and cell phones, we're more connected than ever before. But there are huge privacy and security problems with all of them. Things are being blocked where they're needed most, where people are fighting for their beliefs. Now, wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to replace Skype, Facebook, email, and messaging with something more secure so you can communicate freely? Ready to change the world? Introducing Unseen, the first free, secure, and private communication platform. Secure chat, secure messaging, secure content delivery, like nothing else. Unseen gives you the key to freedom. You have the power to change the world. Sign up now for free to give freedom.
And now, broadcasting live from deep inside the bunker at FEMA Region 9 is your host, Pete Santilli, telling you the truth, whether you like it or not.
Okay, I want you to recognize the music here that I'm playing is by a band called Man Flu out of the UK. The drummer of that band, his name is Vinny Boombats. Okay, we're going to call him Vinny Boombats. That's his listener name. He is the drummer of that band. He has lent us his music royalty-free for our listening audience. And we will also provide links so that you can enjoy that band's music. Very, very creative band called Man Flu. He is an ardent supporter of GMN and has been with us since our single-digit episodes, I think less than 10, has been with us all along. He followed everything, sent me some congratulatory remarks. I haven't had a chance to speak with him personally. Vinny Boombats, if you're listening, I want you to call in. I'd love to speak with you on air. For now, let's go to the 516 area code. What is your first name? I'll put you in our system. 516.
How you doing, Pete?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Listen, my name is Eric. I'm an Army combat veteran from New York, and I can't tell you how proud I am of you and all the people that stood up for us. I've never been so moved in my entire life, and I've seen combat and I've seen some stuff. And the bravery you guys shown is up there with any soldier I've ever served with. So thank you.
That is I will accept that humbly, and it is a high honor and a compliment from somebody like yourself who served our country, and thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you for keeping up the fight, and know that there's a lot of us around the country, and we're all standing with you. So when the bullies come in, they got to know that there's people out there that have seen more combat than any of them put together. And they don't want to get into a fight with us because we survived Iraq.
No.
We survived Mosul, Fallujah, Baghdad. So people they want to be taking a fight with.
Let me ask you this, and I think you and I can speak to this courageously. First of all, but believe it or not, in the past, I kind of laugh at it because I know who I am. Other people who have no clue who I am, I've said, "Oh, Pete Santilli is an agent provocateur who wants to," and I've been trying to inspire people to get involved in this type of a protest, peaceful, right? Backed up by a credible threat of Second Amendment. This is everything that I've been calling for and wanted the end result to be. Okay, so in that same spirit, okay, let me ask you this, Eric. Let's say, for instance, the government comes back and they go in and slaughter all those people. Are you prepared to step up the defense of the American people and the defense of the U.S. Constitution? Should they dare? What message do you have to our Department of Justice and our Department of Homeland Security and our U.S. government that should dare to harm one person from this point forward? What would you like to say to them?
Simple message: for you cannot destroy an idea with a bullet, and for every single person that falls, 10 more will rise in their place. And in case anyone forgets history, it only took 3% of people to overthrow King George. So with social media, there's going to be a lot more of that. And on top of that, our government's, supposed to be this righteous government that goes around defending the freedoms of everyone else. What is it going to say to the rest of the world when they go around slaughtering their own citizens and then try and bring democracy? Is that the kind of democracy a country wants? No. So I think it's hypocritical of them. And, the whole thing with Russia and Ukraine, you want to go and condemn Putin? Look, let's forget about what Putin's doing, but, look, he's saying he's defending Russians. Who knows what he's doing? It's none of our business. Until you can get your backyard clean, don't go around and, try and clean someone else.
Yeah, yeah. Now, also, I had the federal government tell me, and I have it on audio recording, okay, when I told them that my intent was to be part of that group to enforce the law, to stop that convoy when we originally posted that riot video, I told them what our intentions were. And intent is everything. We intended to go there to stop the convoy, to have the sheriff's department come out and investigate as to whether or not they were destroying property and killing cattle. Okay. So the federal government impeded in that investigation. They threatened me with an arrest because I was obstructing justice and impeding that convoy. I give them, Eric, and I think you'll join me in this effort, that what we're inspiring here, okay, it's an inspiration, not an incitement. We are inspiring the people to rise up peacefully, to be backed by a civilian population that is forced to take up arms. Isn't that the truth? Absolutely. Yeah, people are really, that's the problem with the media, is they're misconstruing everything. It wasn't a call for an armed insurrection. Nobody called. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear Clyde Bundy. I didn't hear Stuart Rhodes saying, oh, bring your guns. They said, come here. No one said bring your guns. The militia did it on their own accord, and thank God they did, because you know what? Guns are a deterrent. Guns aren't evil. They are. Right? Mm-hmm. Guns are only evil when put in the hands of evil men. And the only evil men I saw were those federal agents. Federal agents in this country are out of control. You have every outfit organization. These guys are more heavily armed than I was when I was in Iraq. When I was in Iraq, they sent us in with body armor, 100 pounds worth of food, ammunition. They dropped us off in helicopters, and that was it. We didn't have MRAPs. We didn't have tanks. We went in there, and we fought with what we had. And we were fighting terrorists, and we weren't an Iraqi Republican Guard. We weren't fighting, American citizens. They don't need that equipment. They need to take that equipment, and they need to turn it into the DOD, because they don't need it. Hey, Joe, and that equipment, by the way, when turned over to the American people, is in better hands and in better trust, because we're not going to use it against our people, are we?
No, absolutely. And you know what? These guys are they're these bloodthirsty people, and they have no professionals. Let me tell you something. When I saw those federal agents throwing down 59-year-old women and tasing people, that was unacceptable. First of all, even if someone's getting in your face, and this is what we had to deal with when we dealt with peacekeeping operations, I would have thrown down an Iraqi lady. First of all, there would have been a riot. It would have been an armed riot. Second of all, I would have been reprimanded by UCMJ. I would have had to face UCMJ. In fact, when we send soldiers overseas, we send them overseas with their hands behind their backs. You can't. If someone's walking up to you with an AK-47, you can't shoot them. They have to basically be pointing the gun at you, ready to fire for you to shoot back. And because of that, we lost American troops. That's something they don't really talk about. But yeah, we don't hold our federal agents to the same standards we would hold our soldiers. When you're a federal agent, you're there to protect the people, and they should be held to a higher accountability. And the one thing that I think everyone should come together on is we can't allow this. We can't allow these bloodthirsty federal agents to go around using citizens, shooting cows, because you know what? No amount of money, no amount of land, no amount of turtles or cattle is worth human life. Human life is the most precious thing in this world. It is. And the fact that it should scare everybody that these people go up and they basically show up to the Bundy Ranch and give Mr. Bundy, and also these are the options he was given basically: turn over your cattle, pay the grazing fees, go to jail, or die. Those were his options. Yep. Basically, and it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Call. I want you to speak right now as I let you go. I'm going to go on to another caller. I want you to speak to other veterans, especially other combat veterans that are very, very experienced. They know what's happening here in the United States of America. I want you to speak to them and encourage them to stand up for the U.S. Constitution, for the peaceful American people. In order to bring peace, we need their help, don't we? Absolutely. And believe me, we're 5 steps ahead of you, Pete.
Yeah, there you go, man. Semper Fi, brother. Ooh-ah.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, too. All right, we got Eric. It is not, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what the federal government said to me personally about inciting anything, okay, because they threatened me with an arrest to incite. What we incited is exactly what happened. We actually gave them an opportunity. We're going to talk more about that here momentarily. Let me go to a couple of your calls. 540 area code. Quick comment here because I have something I need to share with our listening audience. 540 area code.
That's me, Jane.
Hey, Jane. How are you? Welcome. What's your comment quickly?
Okay. This is the first time I've been on your show. Have you guys, do you know about Operation American Spring that's going to be a peaceful rally in Washington, D.C. on May the 16th?
We do. I do know about that. I've spoken to Colonel Riley. He's been on the show. We're very well aware of it. But can I tell you something? What has changed my, not saying that I don't want that protest to take place. I want to focus my efforts, okay, per the Bundy family, on helping other ranchers, on kicking the federal government out of these lands here that are impacting ranchers in the West. I want to stay on the West Coast, and for the following reason, because if I go there and scream at a bunch of white buildings, it's not nearly as impactful as getting in front of a sheriff and say, what would you have done in the instance in your county, and establish whether or not they're constitutional. So I think that I have a role that I can serve that's much more effective here in the West. And we're actually we're trying to get an RV, get me out on the road for a month so that I can go to these other counties and help these other ranchers. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's great. We've got so many fronts that we're concerned with, but I don't think that we need to lose track of Operation American Spring, because I really believe that is going to culminate into being the very reason that we get our country back on constitutional rule.
I certainly hope so. I hope we get the numbers, okay? And I hope we get the attention of the powers that be. A president of the United States, who I honor the office of the presidency of the United States. We need to go to Washington, D.C. and have that man removed for committing treason against the United States of America.
Absolutely. And I'm also in Mr. Bundy's court. We're here in Virginia. We've got a farm. We know what farming is all about. But there's so many problems here in this country. And I think another thing that I'd like to say quickly,
very quickly,
if anyone has the opportunity, look up the documentary that's called Agenda. I just seen it yesterday. It will tell everyone how we got to the point that we're at right now. It's a fantastic documentary. Takes a long time to listen, about an hour and a half, 2 hours long. But it tells us what the progressives, the liberals are all about and where we're headed. Thanks a lot.
Are you proud to say that we're one nation under God?
Absolutely. I'm a Christian, and I think that's part of the problem. I realized here a very short time ago that it is a battle of good and evil that we faced. Make no mistake about it. When I heard that Saul Alinsky, when he wrote the book Rules for Radicals and dedicated it to Lucifer, I knew immediately what the problem.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Jane, thank you so much. Stay close to us. And please, we need everyone's help on our Facebook page to make sure that even when the liberals show up, they've been told a certain thing. They're on a different side of the internet being told something completely different. We fight for their rights as well. Stay on our Facebook page. Let's help communicate the message that this is a unifying thing. We're doing this for all Americans. Jane, thank you for staying close to us. Ladies and gentlemen, we come back. We're going to have Mr. James Traficant. James Traficant will be here on the Pete Santilli Show, and it's going to be an important discussion. He was inside the U.S. Congress when Waco took place. Does he have a perspective on what's happening here at Bundy Ranch? He sure does, and you're going to hear it right after this.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company.
The saga of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces is a very tasty story. Tahiti Joe went exploring the South Seas for the spices and was easily sidetracked, but don't tell his lady.
Then, after a few months, Tahiti Joe blended a beautiful array of spices with clam juice and honey.
It had a sweet tropical flavor, and with the heat of the peppers, it reminded him of the islands.
Tahiti Joe had to name the new sauce, and Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces was born. Try it as a chicken wing sauce.
Barbecue, marinade,
Or use it to create a delicious Polynesian Mary.
So, visit www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com today to satisfy your cravings for
Tropical taste sensation.
www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com. Infidel Body Armor, made in the USA, an Oathkeeper and disabled veteran-owned business in Texas, selling to U.S. patriots concerned about any type of ballistic threats when it hits the fan, not just law enforcement and military. The engineers at Infidel have designed lightweight, wearable, and durable body armor with life-saving reliability, made with military-grade steel and capable of withstanding hit after hit from high-velocity, large-caliber rounds. From rapid deployment systems to tailored models, Infidel Body Armor has all the right gear, especially suited for any grid-down situation. Infidel Body Armor sold at a fraction of the typical cost for police and military gear, which is designed to be replaced after ballistic impact. Remember, in the middle of societal collapse, replacement ceramic and Kevlar will not be easily found. Infidel's Armor Combo with plate carrier, front and back plate start at $375. Visit GorillaMediaNetwork.com/infidel to check out Infidel's Body Armor and make sure you let them know you heard about them on the Gorilla Media Network.
This is Dr. Judy Wood, author of Where Did the Towers Go? And you're listening to the Gorilla Media Network.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The U.S. Navy is involved in search and rescue operations off the South Korean coast, where a ferry carrying almost 500 people sank the other day. But Navy Lieutenant Arlo Abramson tells NBC's Today Show that search conditions are far from ideal.
The weather today was not very good, so it is a very difficult area. But again, our forces are trained for search and rescue, and we'll continue to support the Republic of Korea Navy and Coast Guard as requested.
At least 18 people are dead, more than 280 others missing. Defense Secretary Hagel says the U.S. will be sending non-lethal aid to Ukraine's military in light of what he calls Russia's ongoing destabilizing actions there. Hagel also says that NATO will be updating its defense plans.
The United States has offered additional planners to help with that effort. We're also assessing what additional contributions we can offer to reinforce our allies in Central and Eastern Europe.
Secretary of State Kerry's been involved in high-level diplomatic talks in Geneva, talks focusing on the Ukrainian crisis. He says all sides have agreed on steps to de-escalate the violence in Ukraine. Also at SRNnews.com, it was an overflow crowd, more than 1,000 people attending today's memorial service where the 3 people fatally shot at Jewish-affiliated facilities in suburban Kansas City last weekend.
Although our hearts are truly broken, all Americans stand with the people of Overland Park, of Leawood, and of Kansas City.
Attorney General Eric Holder speaking at today's service. On Wall Street, the Dow down about 8 points, while the NASDAQ is trading 8 points higher. This is SRN News.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When our daughter Emma was born, we took a look at our credit card debt. It was not a good situation. Finally, my wife Vicki said, call Trinity.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
We called them, they contacted all of our creditors, they stopped the collections calls, they got the interest reduced, and they put us on a plan for success.
If your debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
Inventory isn't about products, kid. It's about money. Products sitting on shelves is money sitting on shelves. I hate overstock. I hate understock. I hate wasting time. I hate wasting money. That's why I love Grainger. Grainger KeepStock Solutions help us manage our facility's inventory, so we have exactly what we need when we need it. No more, no less. It's inventory management my way. Get it? Got it? Good. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock for more information. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mexican federal police have arrested the reputed second-in-command of a major drug cartel right in the heart of Mexico City.
Monte Alejandro Rubido, the head of Mexico's federal police, announced the arrest. He said Arnaldo Villasanchez, who's alleged to be the number 2 in the Beltran-Leyva drug cartel, was arrested in Mexico City with another man. 2 guns, ammunition, and synthetic narcotics were also seized. Rubido says that Mexico City was Villasanchez's operations headquarters, controlling 5 adjoining states. The U.S. Treasury Department classifies Villasanchez as the cartel's head of security, and he's on the Kingpin Most Wanted list. For SRN News, James Bliss reporting.
Terrorists have launched a brazen attack on a military base in a restive area in northern Iraq, killing at least 10 soldiers, wounding 12 others. The morning attack at the base outside Mosul started with a suicide bomber. He set off his truck, packed with explosives, at the gates of the facility. This is SRN News. Longtime staple of the U.S. luxury car market will be coming to China.
Lincoln China's President Robert Parker says the brand is being introduced after much deliberation and research. He says Lincoln will bring to China models which have padded back seats because of China's higher expectations for back seat comfort. Parker says he believes there is strong interest in Lincoln among Chinese luxury car consumers. He adds the company plans to open 60 dealerships in 50 Chinese cities by 2016.
SRN's Linda Kenyon. A Florida woman who was attacked by a bear last weekend says she does not want bears to be killed by wildlife officials for doing what wild animals do. Terry Frenna tells WFTV television that residents of her Lake Mary neighborhood need to learn to expect the wild bears and understand the dangers they pose. More details at srnnews.com.
Hello there. I noticed that you're one of the people who supports Pete Santilli on his webpage. I just want you to know that thousands of us are very, very angry, and soon that's going to be 100,000, perhaps even millions of us, very, very angry at this man who said that he would like to shoot Hillary Clinton in the vagina and watch her die slowly.
What difference at this point does it make?
Hey guys, it's Bill Clinton with your tip of the day. Just remember, it's not oral sex if you pop it on her head and it falls in her mouth.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very important guest here. One person who I have followed and admired over the years, I believe had an inside perspective, spoke out about it, and paid the price for doing so. James Traficant was born in Youngstown, Ohio. He received his BS and MS degree from the University of Pittsburgh, also received an MS from Youngstown University in 1976. From 81 to 85, listen to this. This is why this is going to be an important discussion here. He served as the sheriff of Mahoning County prior to his election to Congress in 1984. He was reelected every year up until 2002, when following his what I believe to be his setup for being so outspoken, up until 2002, when following his conviction on trumped-up corruption charges, he was expelled from the House of Representatives. Now, he is here with us here on the Pete Santilli Show after, I guess, going through that battle, but I believe that he still has a role to play in helping us take our country back. I welcome to the show Mr. James Traficant. Mr. Traficant, thank you so much for coming to the show at a time when we need to hear your voice the most. Welcome to the Pete Santilli Show.
Well, thank you, Pete. And, Dave Gahary called me and he said, Pete wanted to interview me, and I said, I'm excited, and I want to commend you for the job that you've done recently out there for a farmer who had some help from friends. And I think you showed some real grit, and you're not afraid to tackle issues. I appreciate the nice things you said, and I know that you're educating and you're informing people, and we need more Pete Santilli. So proud to be here, and go ahead and shoot away because I'm not playing today.
No, sir, we're not going to play, and I'll tell you why it was important to for me personally, for the rest of our listening audience, to hear your voice. Now, I want to speak, if you don't mind, because not a lot of people know about your background as a sheriff. Okay, now let me tell you, from my perspective, the main reason why. Now, I'm aware of what the true power is of a constitutional sheriff, what authority he has in every single country in the United States of America. Those sheriffs have a decision to make, whether to be constitutional and in favor of the American people, to serve and protect the people within their county, or they have a chance to side with special interests, as is the case with Sheriff Gillespie in this particular county, in Clark County, Nevada. You were aware of that when you were a sheriff, correct? Did you understand your true constitutional authority when you were a sheriff?
Absolutely, Pete. We had a case where the FBI handled the matter, and the citizen came to me later and said, Sheriff, the FBI come in and handled this matter, but when they left, a lot of my valuables were stolen. And I said, are you sure? He said, absolutely. And he gave me an affidavit. So I went to the courts to try and get arrest warrants for the FBI. There were 21 of them. And these judges were so afraid they wouldn't even talk to me. To make a long story short, I took them to federal court in Cleveland on a probable cause hearing. And they were so concerned, Pete, they send in the Undersecretary of Defense of Justice, the Deputy Attorney General, to handle this case. And when it was all over, the judge more or less said that, I couldn't put anything in anyone's hands. But the amazing thing about it was the Justice Department asked the judge for a restraining order on the sheriff of Mahoning County, because he said the sheriff of Mahoning County said he wouldn't tolerate the FBI tolerating his citizens, and he'll put them all in jail. And the judge said to him, do you really want me to put on record, Mr. Porat, that the FBI wants a restraining order on the sheriff of Mahoning County? And he caught himself. He said, well, maybe I don't. The bottom line is, Pete, I was the sheriff. And if the FBI comes into that town, they're dealing with me as the sheriff. Now, as far as you were concerned out there and that issue relative to that particular farmer, I'd have told the Bureau of Land Management to get the hell out of there. There's no reason for them to come in. There's a peaceful solution, and it shall be worked out. But as the sheriff of that county, I would not tolerate anybody coming in there perpetrating an act where there would be armed intervention. I was proud to hear the Sheriff Mack. I believe Sheriff Mack showed up there, and I have great respect for him. Sure I love him. Mm-hmm. But you're exactly right, Pete. The sheriff is the top law enforcement guy in that county, and the federal government has got to respect that. But if that sheriff doesn't set the ground rules and set those limitations and set the parameters for that authority, then he's not a sheriff. That's my opinion.
Well, not only that, in this instance, and by the way, we're going to talk before the end of our conversation. I'm going to throw some stuff out at you, okay, about what we intend to do to these people that I believe there's enough evidence that exists that that sheriff and the special agent in charge for the U.S. Department of the Interior broke the law and put lives in danger as a result of his negligence in not exercising his constitutional authority. He could have protected the people there, including the members of the federal government that were armed up, ready to fight us. They had guns pointed at us. He could have protected both sides by exercising his constitutional authority and saved lives. Lives were in jeopardy as a result of him not using his full power and authority.
Bottom line is, I think intervention was necessary by the sheriff to diffuse the situation and to stand on behalf of those citizens there and to, in fact, mitigate any possibilities of violence or violent confrontation. I think now you can take a look back, and they say it's all Monday morning quarterback business, but I was real outspoken on Waco. And let me tell you something. That guy Koresh went jogging every day, Pete. They could have arrested him in town after he jogged and went to breakfast every single day. Our government wanted to perpetrate an act because I'm firmly convinced that they were trying to reverse this IRS standing on these groups being considered tax-free as the church. And I think they were going to use the Koresh in that whole incident out there, Davidian situation, for that particular incident. And they perpetrated a violent act. I think this could have happened out there. Thank God that there were a number of citizens and individuals like yourself that said, look, we're tired of this big bad government coming in here and pushing us around. We're tired of it from the IRS. We're tired of it from these enforcement agencies. But we'll be damned if we're going to be pushed around by the Bureau of Land Management and bureaucrats in the Department of the Interior. How bad is it going to be? So I think the good thing out of this is the American people have had it. They're going to take their country back. They're not going to allow big Uncle Sam to push them around. Now, I'm not advocating intervention with firearms. I'm not advocating violence. But I am advocating that the American people have to take their sovereignty back, that we've got too big a government and too small a citizen. It's time to empower citizens and reduce the size of this big octopus, this government coming at us.
Now, sir, you know, I want you to hear me out. You can either chime in or, I mean, I'm willing to put myself on the line to advocate, inspire, and incite exactly what happened out there, including the end result, which was a peaceful result. Both sides walked away from the incident, and I believe that that liberty was given back to the ranchers and thereby not just the Bundy Ranch, but the American people, that we stood up. I'm advocating and inciting and saying, look, if we are to meet the federal government and they're prepared to use force against us, we have a right to defend ourselves, don't we, Mr. Traficant?
Absolutely. You not only have a right to defend yourself, it is an inherent right within the Constitution. And we've overlooked it, and we've allowed too much of our rights to be systematically denigrated, little by little, piece by piece. And it's gotten to the point where now you have the government which assumes control and power, and they're going to have a subservient population. So I think what you were involved with and what you're talking about, your advocacy, is saying, look, you're overlooking the Constitution, and that would be a mistake. I wouldn't do that if I were you, and I think that's the good thing to come out of this.
What's unfortunate, sir, is that when it gets to the point to where we have such lawlessness and such corruption in our justice, well, just about every branch of our government has been corrupted to the point to where they're not operating in favor of the U.S. Constitution and the American people. Now the burden is upon us, I believe. We, the American people, are the last line of defense as far as a law enforcement capacity is concerned with respect to the U.S. Constitution. Are we the people obligated to defend and support the Constitution of the United States if our elected officials and our law enforcement will not?
Yes, I think if it comes to that, I think a decision has to be made. And I think in that critical moment when this occurred, that decision was made, that it was necessary to take that stand. And I think that that's the only appropriate action that could be taken.
Yes,
I think there's a message that comes from there. Now, keep in mind, you know, we don't work for the Western Union. We're not about sending messages. But the government did interpret that the American people are only going to take so much. And they will, and thank God, we'll take that stand as they showed there. Mm-hmm. I think this is what comes out of this. You have a right as a citizen that if you are being threatened, and if you believe you're in a jeopardy type of situation, you have the right to take that stand for yourself. What was significant here is it wasn't just the family. It was many, many more that recognized the plight of a family that was, in fact, that they felt being victimized. And I don't know all of the details of the whole situation, but I do know this. Right, wrong, or indifferent, you don't need the government coming in there with such a major force trying to make such a major statement. Enough of this business. And it's happened all over, Pete. You've seen the IRS kicking in doors, sometimes kicking in the wrong doors. Enough is enough. You know, you have, for example, the IRS testified before Congress, Pete, that without fear and intimidation, we're not going to collect taxes. Fear, intimidation. Where the hell does that come in, Pete? Now you have the Bureau of Land Management coming out there like Wyatt Earp on the other side of the fence. You can't have that.
Yes,
you
sir.
needed the Wyatt Earps right there where you were standing with them. And that was really significant, and I think it was refreshing. I was cheering. I was glad as hell to see the people take that stand. It's about time. Enough is enough.
Yes, sir. Now, you, from 81 to 85, when you served as a sheriff, obviously you served honorably. You served and upheld the principles and with respect to your oath to defend and support the Constitution of the United States. Your honor, your integrity, and all of your principles as a sheriff were carried forward, I believe, and maybe you can speak to this, to your role as a congressperson. Your law enforcement obligations and duties to the U.S. Constitution did not stop when you became congressman. Isn't that correct?
Not at all. You know, one of the things, Pete, that I did when I was sheriff up in Youngstown there, we lost the steel industry. We woke up one morning and lost 55,000 top-paying steel jobs. I mean, it decimated that community. It was totally bankrupt. And the banks were starting to foreclose, and I was sheriff, and there's a law in Ohio books that if a bank forecloses, the sheriff shall sign the transfer deed to effect that foreclosure. Well, I was getting information that the banks were foreclosing on one missed payment. So I investigated, and I found out with one woman, she had a 30-year mortgage, paid 23 years, never missed a payment, missed one payment, her husband had died, and they moved official foreclosure. So, Pete, I would not sign transfer deeds. Now, the law was clear, said the sheriff shall. That means you can't question it.
Right.
Well, I said it's time to put this head on. Well, what they did is they took me to court, the banks inspired it, and the judge put me in jail. But when they put me in jail and the people realized what I was doing and that there were several of these homeowners only missed one payment, they were so damn upset. These banks were shivering in their feet. So they worked it out in the back room, and they took care of those homeowners. When I got to Congress, Pete, I wrote several laws for homeowner protection. One of them was they have to give you a 1-800 number when you're 45 days late with the address of a government entity that intervenes between the bank and the borrower to try and save the home. And it worked very much. That 45-day delinquent notice, the 1-800 number, and that's still in effect and it's working. So I carried that on as the sheriff, remembering the hardship of our homeowners and tried to protect and move that on for all of America. And it's now a program that works for all of America. So you are making that point. You're making the point that the sheriff is a very important individual, and he has to wear two hats. You have a citizen that may be breaking the law, and you got to intervene, and you got to stop that person. But you may have a situation where the government and a citizen have come into stark contrast over an issue, and you have to respect the parameters of that. But if you believe that the government is being too aggressive or intimidating or hurting that person, I think you must intervene. Just briefly, I had another case with a fellow that was intimidated by the IRS and signed a document under pressure. He come to me, Pete, and he says, I feel like a coward, Jim. I don't even want anybody to know I did this, but they pressured me. I took him down to the IRS office. I said, I want you to tell me who they were. And I went down there, I said, look, I'm going to put you in jail for intimidating a United States citizen. Now, I was a congressman at the time. I wasn't even a sheriff. But let me tell you what they did. They ironed out his problem real damn fast. And I'll tell you something. They didn't like me, Pete. But when I called the IRS, they paid attention, and they took care of the problems when I called them. In addition, Pete, when I went to Congress, a taxpayer was guilty and had to prove himself innocent. And all 96%, Pete, of all tax trials are civil law. And under civil law, when I went to Congress, the taxpayer has the burden of proof. They have to prove they don't owe the tax. In other words, the IRS says, look, Pete, you owe $50,000, and then they take you to court, and Pete, you had to prove you didn't owe $50,000. Right. So the truth of the matter is you didn't have a chance in hell. So when I went to Congress, I sponsored a bill that said, look, when the taxpayer is taken to court, the burden of proof transfers to the IRS. Well, I almost got in a fist fight with Dan Rostenkowski He said, Traficant, we're never going to do that. You're just getting the American people upset. I said, I'll be damned. I said, if you're going to push me around like that, this will happen. Well, in 1998, the Republicans were in office, Pete, and they moved an IRS reform bill. But they just told me that they weren't going to change the burden of proof because the IRS said, if you put Traficant's burden of proof language in that bill, they're going to go ahead and recommend a veto to President Clinton. Well, I said, listen, this is going to be a feel-good bill, but it's not going to do anything. But I want you to hear this, Pete. The bill was passed on the House floor, and then the bill was passed over in the Senate, a separate bill. But now they're going to conference on the differences. I got a call from the chairman of that committee, Bill Archer from Texas. He said, Jim, there's something happened I have never seen happen in Congress. He said, we are overwhelmed with messages. They want the Traficant burden of proof language in this bill. And, Pete, it was put in conference and became law because the American people demanded it. Let me tell you something. Wage garnishments dropped from $3.1 million to $560,000. Property liens dropped from $670,000 to $160,000.
Wow.
And the seizure of individual family homes dropped from 10,073 a year to 57 homes, Pete. The American people called and said, we want that burden of proof changed. We're tired. Or it would never have been law. So now here we are now. Now I'm involved with one of my last bills, Pete, was to throw out the income tax, abolish the Internal Revenue Service with a flat national retail sales tax.
Wow.
We've started Project Freedom USA. And Project Freedom USA is just a group of people now gathering around the country. They're growing in numbers. They're basically saying, we want to throw this IRS the hell out, let them get a good job. We're tired of only half of us paying the taxes. Everybody's going to pay. It's not going to be any more than we have now. In fact, it'll be less. Everybody will pay. It'll be very fair. No more withholding. Uncle Sam won't hold our money. We'll get it all. We'll decide how to spend it. No more capital gains tax. No more corporation tax. They just push those taxes onto us anyway. No more tax on Social Security. No more tax on Medicare. It'll all be financed through the bill. But one last thing, no more slavery. No more IRS. No more tax courts. No more garnishments. No more late charges. No more hassles.
Right.
It's time. It's time to do what we have to do. Our country don't have enough money to, in fact, finance itself. We're running into massive debt. Only half of us are paying. You can't have this. The country needs to grow. Time to save our country. So
Mr. Traficant,
that's what a sheriff can do. And I'm graduating into other things now, even though I can't do it on the House floor. I think we'll convince Congress that they better get behind this or they're going to get thrown the hell out.
Oh, they are. And let's do this. Let's push the pause button because that's an important thing that I want to get from you is I want you to give because I know you are a true American hero. I've followed you for many, many years. I believe you're an upstanding guy. Let's talk about our system, how it can work, and how we, the people, can take the system back as we conclude this thing. We'll give our listening audience tasks and marching orders as to what we can do to take our country back. I know everybody's inspired to do that. Let's go back to your role as congressperson and your exposure, if you don't mind, because I think we can learn from what happened at Waco. Back then, when you were congressperson, Waco happened, I think, in 1993, correct? It was...
roughly. I don't remember the exact date.
Yeah, 1993. Essentially, a very corrupt, and I've come out against the FBI. Janet Reno was used as a pawn. She was given marching orders, I'm sure, from the Clinton administration to do exactly what they did to show force. Were you exposed as a congressperson to some wrong decisions that were made through the Waco incident?
No, I wasn't. In fact, I spoke every day, every week on the House floor about the injustices. And one speech I made, Pete, is I chronicled the statement made by Janet Reno before one of our committees. Here's what she testified to, Pete. She said, look, we knew Koresh was unstable, so we didn't want to push him over the deep end. And they let her get away, buddy. I wasn't on that committee to ask any questions, but here's what I said on the House floor. I don't believe you, Janet Reno. If you felt he was unstable, why did you have strobe lights bombarding that house all night with the screams of dying rabbits at such a high decibel level, it could be heard 5 miles away.
Wow.
Why did you attack that facility with tanks when you could have arrested David Koresh in town eating a hamburger?
Knowingly.
You're lying to
Knowingly.
us.
Now,
Tell us
Mr.
the
Traficant,
truth.
stay right there. I'm going to take a break. We're going to come back, okay? We're going to continue. If you could, it's really important that we learn from the tragedy of the Waco incident, because going forward, I have hope that they're not going to do the same thing in this instance, and I think we the people, to stand up and make sure that it doesn't happen. Let's hear more about the Waco incident when you were serving in Congress, so that we can learn and make sure that that mistake doesn't happen again right after this with James Traficant, former U.S. Congressman, right after this message.
Around the world 24/7, everyone's listening to the Guerrilla Media Network.
If you enjoy the outdoor life or are preparing for any type of emergency, then you will need the world-renowned Kelly Kettle. The Kelly Kettle is an outdoor camp stove and kettle used to boil water ultra-fast. The Kelly Kettle is the original water boiling kettle that works ultra-fast using only sticks and twigs or whatever else you find that will burn. Don't waste your precious resources on heavy batteries and fuels. For over 100 years, this unique kettle has made boiling water in the outdoors quick and easy, even in the most extreme weather conditions. Whether you are cooking or boiling, you will appreciate the compact, lightweight design, super reliability, and a rugged durability that will last a lifetime. If your life depended on the features of an outdoor pro at a casual camper price, you would go to www.kellykettleusa.com. Enter Pete10 for 10% off whichever Kelly Kettle size fits you or your family best.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company.
The saga of Tahiti Joe's hot sauces is a very tasty story. Tahiti Joe went exploring the South Seas for the spices and was easily sidetracked, but don't tell his lady.
Then, after a few months, Tahiti Joe blended a beautiful array of spices with clam juice and honey.
It had a sweet tropical flavor, and with the heat of the peppers, it reminded him of the islands.
Tahiti Joe had to name the new sauce, and Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces was born. Try it as a chicken wing sauce.
Barbecue, marinade,
or use it to create a delicious Polynesian Mary.
So, visit www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com today to satisfy your cravings for
tropical taste sensation.
www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com. Infidel Body Armor, made in the USA, an Oath Keeper and disabled veteran-owned business in Texas, selling to U.S. patriots concerned about any type of ballistic threats when it hits the fan. Not just law enforcement and military. The engineers at Infidel have designed lightweight, wearable, and durable body armor with life-saving reliability, made with military-grade steel and capable of withstanding hit after hit from high-velocity, large-caliber rounds. From rapid deployment systems to tailored models, Infidel Body Armor has all the right gear, especially suited for any grid-down situation. Infidel Body Armor sold at a fraction of the typical cost for police and military gear, which is designed to be replaced after ballistic impact. Remember, in the middle of societal collapse, replacement ceramic and Kevlar will not be easily found. Infidel's Armor Combo with plate carrier, front and back plate start at $375. Visit GorillaMediaNetwork.com/infidel to check out Infidel's Body Armor and make sure you let them know that you heard about them on the Guerrilla Media Network.
Life Change Tea detoxifies. GetTheTea.com. It's only about $1 a day. GetTheTea.com. Receive more energy. GetTheTea.com. Lose weight. GetTheTea.com. It's purifying. GetTheTea.com. It works immediately. GetTheTea.com. It's too easy. GetTheTea.com. We challenge you. GetTheTea.com. What's the phone number? 928-308-0408. What did you say? 928-308-0408. I didn't get that. 928-308-0408. Will it work? Yes. GetTheTea.com. Unmatched. GetTheTea.com. This gets in your head. GetTheTea.com. That's the idea.
A double-blind study showed that individuals with abdominal obesity who took 300 milligrams of this one supplement for 8 weeks had a significant reduction in abdominal body fat and body weight. Those who took the supplement lost 5 times the amount from their waistline compared to those who took a placebo. Find out what supplement it is and the best source of it by calling and listening to this free recorded message at 866-844-1047. That's 866-844-1047. 866-844-1047.
Okay, before we get back to, because I want to talk about Waco, but I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. When I come out and I say, not that, you know, that my word is all powerful, and when I say to our listening audience that this man that we have on, former Congressman James Traficant, was railroaded, okay? He was outspoken in many different regards. Matter of fact, in 1983, he was charged with racketeering for accepting bribes. He represented himself at a criminal trial. The DOJ had come after him. Janet Reno's DOJ had come after him in that criminal trial, and he argued that he accepted the bribes only as part of an undercover investigation into corruption. He represented himself, and he was the only person ever to win a racketeer influenced in corruption. This is Organizations Act, RICO Act. He was the only person to ever win. He represented himself. I want you to listen to these words, Mr. Traficant. Stay right there, because when I say that you were railroaded, there is evidence to support that is stated as fact, and you could support this. We'll talk more about how you were railroaded, but I want to establish with our listening audience that you, in fact, had been railroaded. Listen to these words from Mr. James Traficant. Here we go.
None of my tapes were allowed to be admitted. None of my affidavits, none of my witnesses to rebut government witnesses. And Richard Detour told it like it was. Henry Nemitz corroborated it. Jim, if I get indicted, I lose my business. But here's the Traficant case. In 2001, Mr. Bush was president. And quite frankly, I tell this jury, I told the Democrat National Committee if Vice President Al Gore visited my valley, I'd endorse President Bush. Because that Chinese money went to the Democrat National Committee. My investigation was going on, and Janet Reno was after me, and quite frankly, she should have been brought before you. And that's the genesis here. The 1983 embarrassment where I beat the hell out of him, the only American in history, Janet Reno, and an FBI investigation I was conducting in my own valley that will make the mob Boston connection look like a choir body. Now, I have submitted for the congressional record details of murders through FBI affidavits signed by FBI agents of whom killed whom, and they were never brought to a grand jury.
Sir, you were railroaded. You were outspoken in so many different regards. We could spend an entire show talking about how you've come out. You've been very, very outspoken as a congressperson, beholden to the American people, and in support of your oath to defend and support the Constitution of the United States. Let's get back to Waco, sir, and I'll let you, of course, weigh in on what happened to you personally. You were outspoken against the Department of Justice throughout the Waco incident. What did you see? What do the American people need to know? Because there's a lot of people that weren't even around at the time, maybe they were too young to pay attention to what happened at Waco. It ended in tragedy at the hands of a very corrupt, just as corrupt as they are now. I would say it's just escalated now. What happened at Waco that you observed, that you were outspoken about, that the American public needs to know about?
Pete, let's look at it. Let's look at it. The tremendous, powerful use of force. With such propaganda that many Americans said, oh, he was a bum, he deserved it. My God, 88 people were incinerated. 17 of them were children, burned alive. Now, here's the problem that I had with it. In my looking at that situation, remember, I'm the guy that brought home John Deminick, who was convicted of being Ivan the Terrible, was sentenced to death and was on death row in Israel. So I proved the Justice Department lied about him and brought him home. When do you ever hear that happening? But I looked into the Waco case, and I was troubled. And what I came across was some information. This man, Koresh, was avoiding the payment of taxes because Branch Davidian operation was listed as a religion. I believe our government was trying to dramatize this so that they can come forth and change and tighten up these laws on these groups claiming religious exemption. They could have, listen to this, David Koresh went jogging every single morning. 9 days before this incident occurred, Pete, he was target practicing with ATF agents. Now, he would go jogging every morning outside the compound. He'd go into this little town, and he'd have breakfast. Now, look, as a sheriff, here's the way it works. If they wanted to arrest him and take the queen bee away from the hive, there would have been no incident whatsoever. They could have just picked them up with their warrant at the restaurant and taken them and cuffed them, do what they have to do. But they didn't want that, Pete. They wanted the dramatic confrontation.
Wow.
To dramatize this religious exemption. This is exactly what it was, Pete. And our government was at fault. They should have been prosecuted for what they did. Now, they made this guy out to be a pedophile and everything. Quite frankly, I don't know if he was. I don't know if you can believe anymore what is happening. But I do know this. Those 88 people did not need to die. Those 17 children did not need to be incinerated. And what's happened when our government has become so strong, so ignorant, it just tramples over the rights of people. Enough is enough. So I stood on the House floor. But a lot of people don't know this. Look at the Randy Weaver case up there in Ruby Ridge. His wife was shot right between the eyes holding her infant son. His boy was shot. His dog was killed. And nothing was done. I made a speech almost every week claiming how this was an abuse of federal power. So they finally took that shooter into a grand jury. They acquitted him, but they settled with him, I guess, for millions of dollars to shut it all up. But the bottom line is, it was all over our government entrapping this man to saw off 2 barrels of a shotgun. Then they come back with him for an altered weapon. They wanted to target him as a white separatist. Now, I may not agree and don't agree with those types of politics, but you don't machinate that type of federal power to go ahead and violate rights like that, kill families. His wife was standing in the doorway, Pete. She was shot exactly between the eyes, holding her infant son. Come on now. Now we look at Waco, 17 innocent kids. Now we look at Bundy. Listen, I'm saying this right on your show, Pete. Keep on doing what you're doing. And for the people out there, don't be shooting at the government, but stand there with that family and say, look, you're not going to rush over. You're not going to bogart these people. You're not going to bulldoze these people. They're citizens. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. And we're just not going to take it. And I think you'll see the government now, with this type of snapshot being put on it, I get a little afraid of getting a little too aggressive with them out there. And I hope that happens. But I'm going to credit you, and I'm going to credit people like Sheriff Mack for standing with those people in a peaceful confrontation.
That's right.
You don't want it. But listen, be very careful that no one perpetrates an incident. If somebody doesn't show up that causes an incident. That's the only thing I can say. But as far as the sheriff goes, I never like to say anything about any other public official. But if I was a sheriff out there, I'd be on the phone and I'd say to the Department of Interior, get the hell out of here. If you want to send out a summons for a peaceful court process, you know, we'll go that way. But don't you come out here with guns, and don't you come out here intimidating my people, because I'm going to be there with my deputies armed, protecting those people.
That's right. He failed. He failed and refused to do that. You know, let me back up a second. With respect to Waco, I'm sensing some similarities between the government's desire to because they're using the tax collection process by force
in the Waco incident, in the same fashion that they're doing, that the BLM is saying, you know what, you didn't pay your fees. We're therefore going to destroy your livelihood, steal your cattle, lock down all of this federally managed land, all because of grazing fees, or essentially taxes that that the federal government believes that they're entitled to. Same exact scenario.
Pete, you took the words out of my mouth. They are not grazing fees. Fees is just another word for taxes.
That's right.
Service charge, tolls. These are all taxes. The federal government has more taxes. People don't even know how damn many taxes are coming at them. That's why we have to throw the tax code out. Now, I don't want to get away from that issue, and you're still talking about it. I will say this about the issue. That's exactly what it's about, money, and who knows what their other plans are.
That's right.
Maybe they have other uses for that land now. Maybe they have some hidden things going on there we don't know about.
That's right.
Don't think that the government doesn't pull an awful lot of fast moves on its citizens, and they'll continue to do it if we allow them to do it. But you see, this is the point that I'm trying to make. We have a tax code coming at us we don't even understand. We have an IRS coming at us that says that fear and intimidation is needed to collect taxes. For what? What is it? This is our country. When the hell did this happen? How did this evolve? Let's throw them the hell out of the way. We'll pay a flat consumption tax everybody's going to pay. We'll make our exports more competitive. We'll make those imports pay their fair share, just like ours, with a non-protectionist, border-adjusted tax, and straighten our country out. And let's put the damn Fed, audit the Fed. They're going to come back and institutionalize the damn thing. Throw it out, put money and banking authority back under the Congress, repudiate the interest on the national debt, tell these international bankers, get the hell out of here, and take care of our country.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be surprised to see how America will grow. Jobs will grow. Investments will grow. Right now, Pete, just think. Our tax code rewards dependency, makes more dependence, penalizes achievement, subsidizes illegitimacy, makes tax cheats out of everybody. For what? Get them the hell out. We got to have everybody pay. It's got to be fair.
And
we don't need this big bad Uncle Sam coming at us. Let's reduce the size of that central government. Right now, they take the withholding, Pete. They decide how to spend it in Afghanistan and Iraq and foreign aid. Under this bill, there's no more IRS. There's no more withholding. All the paycheck comes to the citizen. They decide the agenda for their savings. So I'm hoping that the word for Project Freedom USA will start to get out. There are directors in, I think, 7 states that just started a couple of weeks ago, and you'll be hearing more about it. And I'm hoping to get back on your show about it.
Please do.
But
yes.
You're striking on the turn. You're striking on more than likely the bottom line to what affected the Bundy family, and that was taxes, Uncle Sam looking for revenue, a bankrupt country that's squeezing everything, trying to squeeze every penny, and who's paying it? The honest, hardworking people are paying the taxes. They can't get it from anywhere else, so what do? They're squeezing the hell out of us. Enough.
Sir,
and that stand that was taken there, I think, should also let it be known as all you're doing is you're coming in here for money, you're coming in here to set example, to scare every other rancher in the world that if you don't comply and do what Big Bad Brother wants you to do, it'll happen to you just like it happened to the Bundys. I think it is refreshing to see the people out there stand up with their neighbors and to see people like you who have influence that people listen to and respect. People like Sheriff Mack, they're starting to say, wait a minute, let's not rush to judgment. Let's not let these people push our people around, push our citizens, our fellow citizens, our neighbors around. That's what's refreshing is coming out of this. I think you've made an impact, and I think now you want to make sure that you stay on that high ground. Stay on that high ground. You know, your confrontation is just simply saying, we don't like the way you're doing things.
That's right. Now, let me ask you this, okay, because I do want to focus on this going forward, and I'm going to speak to you as a former sheriff, as a law enforcement official, as a member of Congress, sworn both times to the U.S. Constitution. I believe now, technically and legally, obviously, it's going to require consultation with some legal authorities. But let's put not just this one sheriff, and you don't need to come out against Gillespie. You said you don't like to come out against public officials, but I'm going to tell you something. Nobody is above the law. So do me a favor. I'm going to break down some things for you. Let's say you were the sheriff, and it was Sheriff Traficant. Okay, and I'm going to put you in the scenario here, and I want you to tell me whether or not you had broken the law and put lives in jeopardy. You put lives in jeopardy. The sheriff came to the podium right before me, 5 feet away from me. Before this entire incident occurred, he said, I have an announcement to make. The BLM is standing down. They're going to give you your cattle back, and they're going to pick up stakes and go home. It's all said and done. Now, Cliven Bundy knew better. He essentially called their bluff. He said the BLM was standing down. He gave the 2,500 protesters, family members that were there, a little bit more confidence and comfort that if in the next phase, that hour after he submitted his demands, that if in the next phase, that if the sheriff did not abide by Cliven Bundy's request to disarm those federal agents, that we, the people, were going to go down there and get that cattle. We believe that the BLM was standing down. Therefore, 2,500 people went down there with the expectation that BLM was going to stand down to get those cattle, and they were met with not BLM standing down. The BLM was ready for war. Would you, as the sheriff, be considered negligent in putting those lives in danger by stating that they were standing down and, in fact, they were prepared for war? Isn't that negligence? Can't he be held accountable?
Pete, if he had absolute knowledge, yes.
Okay.
I think he'd be culpable. So I don't know. Maybe they gave him the impression they weren't. I don't want to speak in a vacuum, but I will say this. I think the sheriff should have known, and I think the sheriff should have said, look, this is a major difference, but this is our county. These are my citizens, and we do not need this big confrontation out here and the possibility of weapons. So I'm going to ask the Bureau of Land Management to remove themselves, and let's see this process in an appropriate vehicle of justice, a court of some form with process, due process. I would have done that, but would have said this: if I then saw a mobilization on behalf of the BLM or Department of Interior people or any other federal force was in conjunction with them, I would have brought my deputies to the site, and I'd have put my deputies between that federal presence and my citizens.
Yes, sir.
In protection of those citizens, because there was no call for it.
But all of this needs to be investigated at minimum. Don't you agree?
I agree. It should be investigated. I think that you're on the right track right there. I think your voice lends credibility to and pressure towards those ends.
Yes.
And anything I can do, I'd be glad to do that for you.
Yes, sir.
But I think right now, you become very pivotal here. So I think what you want to do is you want to caution people not to make a mistake that would put themselves in a situation and make it look like they were just running off half-cocked. You don't want that.
Right.
Make an intelligence stand there and stand up to them. But I think you should say this, and you can come out and say this. People know you. You could say, look, Sheriff, we're asking you to put yourself between the guns of the federal government and our citizens. Yes. We want you to put your gun. And damn it, if you're not going to do that, you give us no choice. And we don't want to have any guns. We don't believe in them. We have them, and if we need be, if you're not going to protect us, we're not going to let them push us around. But I would try and de-emphasize to diffuse any possible confrontation with any types of weaponry, but I would ask that sheriff to put himself between those federal people and our citizens and go for due process in an appropriate way. And I would do that. I'd take that stand, and I would get others to stand with you.
Yes, sir, and that applies to not only Sheriff Gillespie, but to every single sheriff in every county in America because of their true power under the Constitution. The message, the precedence needs to be set.
There's one other thing, too, Pete. Maybe you could lead the charge and go to a court and ask for a restraining order against the federal government, that they do not appear on any of these properties, and certainly not in any numbers or with weapons, and that they confine themselves to due process through the courts. Take that position. Yeah. Let it be known that the taxpayers, the citizens, the Bundys and their neighbors and their friends and the citizenry is saying, look, we want a restraining order from this big bad brother coming in here with guns.
Mm-hmm.
And the court should tell them not to do that. That isn't right. And for them to go through, they know the law, and go through due process. Now, they're going to say we served them and they didn't respond. Well, then you take your action and we respond. You don't come in there. And also make a public statement, and we're asking the sheriff that if they come again and they come with guns, we're asking the sheriff to stand for our citizens and stand between those guns of the federal government and our people. That's your role, to diffuse that violence, to diffuse that confrontation.
We were so desperate
not to leave the citizens out there faring for themselves.
No, and that's exactly what ended up happening. We were prepared to put our lives on the line, but we were fending for ourselves. But I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Traficant, this is real important to convey to our listening audience and yourself. I have this documented that days prior, I personally spoke with Daniel P. Love. He was the special agent in charge of the Bureau of Land Management. And I said, you have the opportunity when men and women, family members who will peacefully come to you to demand that that cattle be released and that we exercise our constitutional rights, we ask you and each and every one of your troops that when given that opportunity to side in favor of the Constitution and the American people and for the safety of everybody involved, you have the opportunity to stand down, turn your back for everyone's safety, because we come in peace. And you have that chance. And you know what he said to me? That ain't going to happen. He said, you better come with bigger numbers than you got now. And this was a couple days prior when we had a smaller number of people in the camps. So the federal government's position at that point was to prepare to, as they believed, that they were enforcing the law, even though I believe that, obviously it's a contention that is to be settled in court, whether or not they were operating constitutionally. But when it was all said and done, the federal government, in this case and in every future case, has the opportunity individually, these employees have the opportunity to make a stand in favor of our country, in favor of the Constitution, in favor of the peaceful people of the United States of America. That, guess what? If you're driving a rail car filled with Jews getting ready to take them to the concentration camp, you can just turn the engine off and stop. You don't have to proceed forward. And I think that's where we're going to be able to shut off this tyrannical government. Don't you agree?
That's right. Let me just say this to you, I want to commend you for what you did with Agent Love, was it? And I'm going to send a message to Agent Love. Too many of the federal agents are so arrogant, they can look the people in the eye and say, you better get more numbers, or you better pay your taxes. Shame on you, Love. And let me tell you something. There will be more numbers. There are going to be more numbers all around the country, not just about this incident, but on incidents to come, because people have had it, and they're starting to organize, and they're looking at our document of freedom, which created our great republic called the Constitution. And Mr. Love, you're either going to get on board or we're going to challenge you. So just keep doing what you're doing, Pete. And you don't need any advice from me or anybody. You seem to have been qualifying and distilling and digesting all these different respective factors and coming up with some pretty good and solid situations there and advice. And just keep letting the people know what's happening, keep them informed, and the people will do the right thing. But I will send also, before I leave, a message to your sheriff. Stand between that federal government and your citizens. Your job is to protect those citizens in your county. The feds are in your county. Stand for your citizens and prevent any potential violence.
Now, sir,
having said that,
yes, sir. Let me ask you this one final question. I'm going to have you back on. Okay, I want to get your opinion on this. And you made a very important point. And I believe in the rule of law. I believe that the court system can work for us. Should we put the same pressure on what I believe to be a corrupt court system to follow the law? Can we, the people, demand that our legislative system, our judicial system, follow the same laws that we ask them to do? Can we put that same level of pressure?
File a restraining order against these people officially and have numbers at that courthouse when you present it. And I'm saying that you should carry it on behalf of that family.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. We're going to have you back on, and I'm going to speak to you offline, Mr. Traficant. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Let me know what comes of it, and if I can do any more to help you, I will.
Thank you so much, sir.
Take care, Pete.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yep. Yes, sir. Good luck.
Now.
Thank you. Wow. I'm almost speechless. Infidel Body Armor, made in the USA, an Oath Keeper and disabled veteran-owned business in Texas, selling to U.S. patriots concerned about any type of ballistic threats when it hits the fan. Not just law enforcement and military. The engineers at Infidel have designed lightweight, wearable, and durable body armor with life-saving reliability, made with military-grade steel and capable of withstanding hit after hit from high-velocity, large-caliber rounds. From rapid deployment systems to tailored models, Infidel Body Armor has all the right gear, especially suited for any grid-down situation. Infidel Body Armor sold at a fraction of the typical cost for police and military gear, which is designed to be replaced after ballistic impact. Remember, in the middle of societal collapse, replacement ceramic and Kevlar will not be easily found. Infidel's Armor Combo with plate carrier, front and back plate start at $375. Visit GorillaMediaNetwork.com/infidel to check out Infidel's Body Armor and make sure you let them know you heard about them on the Gorilla Media Network.
This is Audio Soldier from the Sunday Night Reboot Show with this special message. GMN needs the support of each of our listeners since we will never take a dime from major corporations. Your contributions are not only appreciated, they are critical to maintaining our independence and loyalty to our listeners. Please visit www.gmn.is or GorillaMediaNetwork.com and click on the donate button now. Our donors and members will have access to our chat rooms, forums, and daily downloads of commercial-free iTunes podcasts. Please donate now.
GMN is giving the finger to the NSA.
We came, we saw, he died.
I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. It would generate a lot more red ink than President Obama claims. That's what experts at the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office are saying about Mr. Obama's proposed budget. The CBO says the Obama blueprint would produce deficits of more than $6 trillion over the next 10 years, and that's about $1 trillion more than the White House forecast. The Pentagon is shipping supplies to Ukraine's military. This is non-lethal aid.
These supplies include medical supplies, helmets, sleeping mats, and water purification units for Ukraine's armed forces, as well as shelters, small power generators, and hand fuel pumps for Ukraine's State Border Guard Service.
Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel, diplomatic efforts to defuse the Ukraine crisis have taken a step forward.
We agreed today that all illegal armed groups must be disarmed.
Secretary of State Kerry involved in high-level diplomatic talks in Geneva. Those talks involving the U.S., the EU, Russia, and Ukraine. Also at SRNnews.com, President Obama has honored injured war veterans participating in the annual Soldier Ride.
The Soldier Ride is a cycling event to help wounded warriors restore their physical and emotional well-being, and veterans in this year's bike rally stopped by the White House.
Those who participate are such an incredible inspiration to me and to our country.
And then the president helped start the next leg of the ride.
On your mark, get set.
Greg Clugston, SRN News, the White House.
The death toll in the sinking of a ferry off South Korea has reached 20. More than 270 people are missing. On Wall Street, the Dow's up about 26 points, the NASDAQ ahead 21. This is SRN News.
Do you have a family member who's getting older and can no longer be safely left alone? With Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Senior Home Care, your parents and older family members can continue living at home and not have to move into a nursing home. Experienced, compassionate caregivers provide assistance in hygiene, meal preparation, and light housework up to 24 hours per day at affordable rates. To restore your family's peace of mind, call Visiting Angels toll-free today at 877-374-LIVE or at visitingangels.com.
When my daughter told me she was getting married this spring in Napa, my first thought was, to that guy? My second was, my allergies. That's when a friend told me about Advil Allergy. Turns out it's the only allergy medicine that relieves my itchy eyes and runny nose and has the speed and strength of Advil to tackle even my toughest allergy pain. So I could focus on the ceremony, not my allergies.
Fight even the toughest allergy symptoms with Advil Allergy, the only allergy medicine that comes with the speed and strength of Advil. Uses direct.
Syrian activists have released a video. They say it's more evidence of another gas attack by the government.
In a makeshift clinic, medics worked frantically to revive 4 young men, some unconscious, some gasping and fighting for breath. According to activists who posted the video, which we can't independently verify, on the internet, they had all been affected by poison gas fired by government forces at Harasta, a rebel-held suburb northeast of Damascus. The symptoms looked similar to those suffered last weekend by around 10 people who were affected by what both sides, rebels and regime, agreed was a chlorine gas attack at Kfar Zeta, north of Hama in central Syria.
The BBC's Jim Muir. The Turkish parliament has approved a bill increasing the powers and immunities of the country's spy agency, the latest in a string of moves that critics say is undermining democracy in the country that's a candidate to join the European Union. This is SRN News. Yahoo's recently fired COO, Enrique de Castro, has left the internet company with a severance package of $58 million. He was on the job for just 15 months.
The disclosure in a regulatory filing could result in more second-guessing of Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer's decision to hire de Castro as her second-in-command 18 months ago. Mayer fired de Castro in January after concluding he wasn't carrying out her plan for reviving Yahoo's lackluster ad growth. The company's board says most of the severance stemmed from the costs of hiring de Castro from his previous job at Google.
SRN's Wally Hines. Travelers and employees have been allowed back into the ticketing area of a terminal at LAX. That area partially evacuated earlier today after a man claimed to have a bomb. Airport police say there was no actual threat. More details at srnnews.com.
This is Audio Soldier from the Sunday Night Reboot Show with this special message. GMN needs the support of each of our listeners since we will never take a dime from major corporations. Your contributions are not only appreciated, they are critical to maintaining our independence and loyalty to our listeners. Please visit www.gmn.is or GuerrillaMediaNetwork.com and click on the donate button now. Our donors and members will have access to our chat rooms, forums, and daily downloads of commercial-free iTunes podcasts. Please donate now.
We're settling back in, ladies and gentlemen. I say settling back in. Now, Bundy Ranch news is extremely important. We will provide ongoing updates. That's not going to go away. And there's some things happening in the next couple of days that I'll probably have to remind you about tomorrow. I will tell you what's going to happen in the coming days through the weekend. I have some things I need to take care of as well. But we will be providing ongoing updates on Bundy Ranch and working very hard around the clock. Now, there's still very important news that's going on around the world. We don't want to lose sight of what, I mean, the corruption at Bundy Ranch is one thing. We've got corruption at just about every level and every aspect about how we're operating the United States government, how these people who have taken over our system are operating it. to our detriment. They are getting prepared to expend millions of lives potentially. Now, we do the Bunker News Break each and every day at this time with Patrick Henningsen from 21stCenturyWire.com. You've gotten to know him through the coverage of the Bundy Ranch, and he also keeps his pulse on what's happening in the world. He joins me each and every day for the Bunker News Break, brought to you by 21stCenturyWire.com. Support that webpage, follow his news reporting, and you get to hear him every day here on the show. Welcome back, Patrick.
Oh, it's good to be back, Pete. Your line got funny to me.
Your internet connection's still funky.
Just reconnect me.
I think we're doing okay right now. I will, when you see me disconnect, that means it's bad. I'll just reconnect you. That's okay.
Okay.
Susanna Cole's going to join us here for a second. I just need to step away for a quick task. Susanna Cole, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are you? Patrick, what do we have? And Susanna's got an important article to cover here if we have to drop off and reconnect. But Patrick, Bundy Ranch, we've been covering it extensively, and Will, of course. I want to throw to you. Tell us what's at the top of your priority list right now as to the stories you're covering.
Well, we just published part 3 of the photo documentary from GMN's photographer Shannon Bushman, and we've added some commentary there and highlighting the role of the cowgirls on the front line at the standoff, and also reminding people of what a dangerous situation it was, but how liberty and U.S. Constitution principles came out on top in the end. But it's a 3-part article series just finished. Part 3 is published, and I think it's one of the best pieces on record. It's a historic event, so I do encourage people to go take a look at all 3 of those articles again. And I just have to take my hat off to Shannon Bushman once again.
Oh yes,
stunning work. Absolutely stunning.
He's volunteered, to also, he's come out and said that that he's living proof that even the federal agents who are U.S. citizens as well were put at risk by the federal government and their leadership. That if he were a sniper, he would have taken each and every one of them out, and thank goodness he wasn't, he said, because he didn't mean any harm. But his photo journalism, is truly what the press is all about, making that point that those lives were in jeopardy as well. Thank goodness it worked out the way it did. He's also volunteered to be a GMN photojournalist to help us not only with continuing this coverage, but other incidents as well as we go out on the road. Those photos are available exclusively through GMN and on 21stCenturyWire.com.
Yeah, awesome. That is incredible. And also, I've reposted GMN Radio Special, which we broadcast last night after the Pete Santilli show, which was Mike Adams and myself with a special Bundy Ranch update show. We've published that up on 21st Century Wire in its edited form. And also the evidence of the BLM's deadly abuse of animals taken from the Bundy Ranch. That story has just gotten an incredible amount of coverage all across the internet, and also thanks partly as well to Natural News for linking back to us on that. But and I just want to also say, Pete, that it's nice to see all different alternative media outlets teaming up and together, really leveraging all of their resources together to get the information out. So that's GMN, 21st Century Wire, and also Natural News yesterday. So that shows you the power of teamwork, and I wish more alternative media outlets would be more open to that. We hope they will be in the future, though. But yeah, we're trying our best to make it happen, and many hands make light work.
Patrick, can you hear me okay?
Of course, yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Well, I wasn't sure. It's not coming back in my headphones just correctly. But listen, I've been looking out there and looking at the stories that are starting to surface from the more liberal point of view, and for people who are anti-Bundy, let's say, and And there's some people, even in alternative media, starting to parrot what some of the mainstream media is saying and about the women being on the front line. And I think if they're going to have any kind of sticking point to use, to become a mantra and to demonize this, it's going to be that one. I think that one's it looks like that one's just coming out as the front runner. Unless these people were on the ground and following it like you and I did, because Pete did such great coverage, I felt like I was there. I don't know about you, but I mean, I really felt like I was there. I felt like I got to know these people. I felt like I got to know the people on the ground. And, and so what I'm saying is, unless you were there, does anybody really have a right to, after the fact, and not getting in their cars and going there, or not catching a plane and getting there? Do they have the right to judge Sheriff Mack and these women and the people on the ground and the eventual posture that they took?
No, they absolutely don't, and it means that they're basically watching state-run coverage, and that they've gotten their view of the events at Bundy from the state-run media. So that's like no different than watching Red China state-run television to get an update on Chinese rebellion over in the Western provinces, or back in the Soviet Union days, watching Soviet television to get an update on what's going on with the Iron Curtain falling. They'll be the last. If you're watching any of the major broadcast networks, you will be the last to know what's going on when the penny drops. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's what that. So if you think you're going to get your coverage from important news from your great heroes like Anderson Cooper or Bill O'Reilly or any of these other overpaid sort of mouthpieces, you're sadly mistaken. And I'm also going to add to this, Glenn Beck, who I'm more convinced now than ever. I did watch him closely after during the Boston bombings last year to see how he was spinning a sort of parallel narrative to take people's eyes off of what was really going on with regards to what the FBI had perpetrated there in Boston. And now with this event, he's basically exposed himself completely. So I'm looking at Glenn Beck's talking points are now feathering out. But some of these are professional trolls. Obviously, they work for the government, and there are people on the payroll. Sorry, it's already been exposed in the Edward Snowden documents. There are people who work for the NSA or for private contractors who go around to websites and Facebook and social media to put comments on that are basically misleading and to stifle debate. Right. And I found one such person who's basically parroting, and it's pretty obvious when they're professionals because the talking points fit quite neatly, and they're not coming from a personal. Their personal opinion's not coming across. It's very methodical the way that they post these comments. I found one here on Facebook, and I won't say this guy's name, but just be aware. He said, this is his response to my article of this photographs and video from the Bundy Ranch standoff. And I did not mention militia in my article, by the way. I did in previous ones, but not in this one. So this person says, his name is Steve, and he says, where were these militias when occupiers were getting tear gassed? Where were they when poor kids in ghettos getting thrown in jail for a joint? These dipshits aren't defending freedom. Hold on, let me finish, please. These clowns are a bunch of charlatans who are in it for themselves. Okay, so that is straight off of a continuation of Glenn Beck's talking point, which was that the Bundy standoff is the right wing's version of the Occupy movement. Now, my response to him is, it'd be intellectually lazy to compare Bundy to Occupy, like Glenn Beck is doing. And I might add that most people, Well, we'll continue after the break.
We will. Just here's my brief comment.
Point,
here's the main difference, and you can continue on with commentary. Here's the main difference between who led the Bundy Ranch battle and who led Occupy. George Soros didn't request the militia, did he?
More than that. More than that. I'll tell you.
But also at the same time, George Soros, okay, could have at least requested the support of the militia, and I'm sure they would have responded to it. Maybe if they knew who George Soros was, maybe they wouldn't. We'll be right back with more commentary with Patrick.
Infidel Body Armor, made in the USA, an Oath Keeper and disabled veteran-owned business in Texas, selling to U.S. patriots concerned about any type of ballistic threats when it hits the fan, not just law enforcement and military. The engineers at Infidel have designed lightweight, wearable, and durable body armor with life-saving reliability, made with military-grade steel and capable of withstanding hit after hit from high-velocity, large-caliber rounds. From rapid deployment systems to tailored models, Infidel Body Armor has all the right gear, especially suited for any grid-down situation. Infidel Body Armor sold at a fraction of the typical cost for police and military gear, which is designed to be replaced after ballistic impact. Remember, in the middle of societal collapse, replacement ceramic and Kevlar will not be easily found. Infidel's Armor Combo with plate carrier, front and back plate start at $375. Visit GorillaMediaNetwork.com/infidel to check out Infidel's Body Armor and make sure you let them know you heard about them on the Gorilla Media Network.
Life Change Tea detoxifies. GetTheTea.com. It's only about $1 a day. GetTheTea.com. Receive more energy. GetTheTea.com. Lose weight. GetTheTea.com. It's purifying. GetTheTea.com. It works immediately. GetTheTea.com. It's too easy. GetTheTea.com. We challenge you. GetTheTea.com. What's the phone number? 928-308-0408. What did you say? 928-308-0408. I didn't get that. 928-308-0408. Will it work? Yes. GetTheTea.com. Unmatched. GetTheTea.com. This gets in your head. GetTheTea.com. That's the idea.
I don't want to get us off track, but I do want to give special thanks to those of you that contributed $5, $25, $50, $100 plus. I want to thank you very much for your contribution. Every dime that you contribute goes directly into, if everyone gave $1, we'd have millions of dollars. We would. I mean, we have millions of listeners. That's a fact. If everyone did that, and we receive that money, all of that money will go towards that. You will be literally contributing yourself to building your network, your favorite network that you believe is providing with great information. We will take that money and we will escalate the amount of information that we bring to you. So this would be your investment in us if you believe in us. So please contribute. Now back to Patrick. I say that there's a difference between the two. You say it's even further than that. How much further does it go? How much deeper does the rabbit hole go?
Okay, now this is for all our listeners out there who you're starting to be bombarded with this talking point, which is straight out of Central Intelligence, straight given to Glenn Beck, and he goes and says it to the public, and then everybody copies it. And plus, you have the employed professional trolls copying and pasting this. So this comparison of what happened at the Bundy Ranch to the Occupy movement. Okay, first of all, it's a fact. Okay, the Occupy movement was a Wall Street funded and a Democratic Party creation. They needed a left-wing wave to ensure that they would get the sort of voting margin in Obama's reelection in 2012 that they needed, and this was part of it. Change.org, MoveOn.org, these were all driving forces behind the Occupy movement. I won't get into the NGOs and the George Soros Wall Street connections because there are many. I wrote an article exposing this for The Guardian, actually, which is a fairly, well-known newspaper worldwide. And it's, if you want to Google it, just put The Guardian, Patrick Henningsen in Google. You'll see this article has all the links and the connections all checked, all done by the legal team at The Guardian. You can't, it's bulletproof, basically. So that's what the Occupy movement was, firstly. Secondly, okay, the militia came because the Bundy family put out a call for help in self-defense, okay? This is no comparison to the Occupy movement at all, okay? And the Bundys were being bullied, and I'm talking to your left-wing believers in Occupy. The Bundys were being bullied by your 1%, that 1% that you so loathe, occupiers, okay? But the problem here is the majority of the left-wing Democrat voting occupiers do not even believe in the Second Amendment. So don't even bring the militia into this Occupy argument. That is the most pathetic equivocation you can possibly make. Okay, I've just destroyed their argument there. I've just beaten it down, and I've just cut it up, and it's ready to put in the oven for a meal. Okay, go back and listen to that argument again, and you can use that against anybody who comes at you on social media.
Let me ask you something. It seems like I'm listening to Glenn Beck. One of two things is taking place here. All right, and I don't know the latter of which I'm going to mention here for a fact, but it seems like he's totally disconnected from the reality of what's taking place here. Is he doing it intentionally, or is he just truly disconnected?
He is totally doing it intentionally. Okay, he might appear to be aloof on certain issues, but he did a U-turn. America saw it. He did a U-turn through the Bundys under his ridiculous. Sorry, back.
Okay, I think we lost Patrick here. I'm going to reconnect, but let's do this. It's important that I do this. St. Peter, do you have a comment, or are you just listening? You have a quick comment? St. Peter.
Hello. Hey.
St. Peter, do you have a quick comment? Yeah, what's going on?
Nothing much. I'm just you lit a fire under me. I want to, I'm just real excited. Try to get things going. I got a little group going, and we want to try to get to Nevada if we can. I mean, it's just me right now that's going to go, but I did a little research on the sheriff. I guess he's appointed sheriff, so I don't really know. I just don't have I know more than anybody else in the group, and I don't really know anything about what to do. So
well, here's
the
deal.
Learning. I want to get locally, and I contacted a Sheriff Mack's organization, the Oath Keepers, but they're so busy right now, and it's just going to take time, I guess. But I just wanted to start like a local GMN kind of thing or whatever. Continue the fire.
Let me say this, okay? For those of you that are considering going out there, if you want to help out with with the militia, the most important thing you can do when you get there, it's really important that we have unity of command, like Lieutenant Colonel Roy Potter said. Okay, you need to report to somebody that you follow a direction from. Okay, so get organized in that fashion. When you arrive there and you say you want to help out, there's help that is needed there. So show up there. Now, if you have a camera, you have a microphone, and you have the ability to make sure you keep everything charged on your own. Be self-sufficient in that regard. I'm in contact with a guy, and he's got a whole media organization. Okay. All right. This is what
he's like a professional. He used to work for ABC or something, and then he got out of that. He's into truth and everything. We don't really agree, but I just, for some reason, I cannot contact anybody. I just don't know. I don't have, any contact. So, okay. I said, I wanted to contact someone there, before I actually headed out, because I was going to be going on my own. Okay. And leaving the group here. So I'm just trying to.
I had, when I went out there, all right, I'm going to tell you the only contact I had, Clive and Bundy, obviously. But guess what? When I got there, I didn't ask for any special privileges. He offered to. He said, we've got plenty of room for you to camp out. Plan on camp. It's beautiful country out there. I'm going to tell you that right now. You can sleep out in the open. You don't even need a tent. You could just plan to be self-sufficient. There's plenty of room for as many people that want to go there. There's 600,000 acres now that are freed up. Okay, so if you get out there, you plan to go, and that's what you believe that you need to do. Get out there, make contact with people. You'll make lots of friends out there. I promise you. These are beautiful, beautiful people that are out there, St. Peter. So thank you very much.
Is that restraining order?
What restraining order?
Is that the restraining order, like the next step?
You know,
is that what's going to happen?
I'm not going to disclose what the next step is. We're working on many different things here in the coming days. You're going to be hearing about it, okay? But I'm going to be in consultation with many different people from retired law enforcement, existing law enforcement, and, you know, in cooperation with, of course, we want the sheriff's department to maintain peace. I want to be lawful and constitutional in all instances, and let's start using the court system to hold the federal government back. But a restraining order is a great idea. Absolutely. Stay right there. We'll be back and connect with Patrick Henningsen right after this message. If he's not there, we'll take more of your calls. So callers, stay right there. I'll be getting to you.
Welcome to a real minute of information with Life Change Tea. Thousands and thousands of people are fighting flus, colds, viruses, and such, and are losing valuable time at work or just plain old feeling lousy. Did you know that just 2 8-ounce glasses of Life Change Tea can help you with flu, colds, and viruses? In fact, Life Change Tea helps with more than just flus and colds. Life Change Tea helps fight cholesterol, blood pressure, constipation, colon buildup, liver problems, and much more. Just drink 2 8-ounce glasses a day and feel the difference. Many people reorder this product every single month. The cost is about $1 a day. No gimmicks, just results. So order today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. And just so you know, one of Life Change Tea's side effects is losing weight. Health is important. Don't procrastinate. Order today at getthetea.com.
With email, Skype, Facebook, Twitter, and cell phones, we're more connected than ever before. But there are huge privacy and security problems with all of them. Things are being blocked where they're needed most, where people are fighting for their beliefs. Now, wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to replace Skype, Facebook, email, and messaging with something more secure so you can communicate freely? Ready to change the world? Introducing Unseen, the first free, secure, and private communication platform. Secure chat, secure messaging, secure content delivery, like nothing else. Unseen gives you the key to freedom. You have the power to change the world. Sign up now for free to give freedom.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company.
The saga of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces is a very tasty story. Tahiti Joe went exploring the South Seas for the spices and was easily sidetracked, but don't tell his lady.
Then, after a few months, Tahiti Joe blended a beautiful array of spices with clam juice and honey.
It had a sweet tropical flavor, and with the heat of the peppers, it reminded him of the islands.
Tahiti Joe had to name the new sauce, and Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces was born. Try it as a chicken wing sauce.
Barbecue, marinade,
or use it to create a delicious Polynesian Mary.
So, visit www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com today to satisfy your cravings for
tropical taste sensation.
www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com.
If you enjoy the outdoor life or are preparing for any type of emergency, then you will need the world-renowned Kelly Kettle. The Kelly Kettle is an outdoor camp stove and kettle used to boil water ultra-fast. The Kelly Kettle is the original water boiling kettle that works ultra-fast using only sticks and twigs or whatever else you find that will burn. Don't waste your precious resources on heavy batteries and fuels. For over 100 years, this unique kettle has made boiling water in the outdoors quick and easy, even in the most extreme weather conditions. Whether you are cooking or boiling, you will appreciate the compact, lightweight design, super reliability, and a rugged durability that will last a lifetime. If your life depended on the features of an outdoor pro at a casual camper price, you would go to www.kellykettleusa.com. Enter Pete10 for 10% off whichever Kelly Kettle size fits you or your family best.
Listening to a live broadcast on the Guerrilla Media Network. To speak with the host from a landline, call 218-862-9829. Phone lines are open now, and we never screen calls. Your opinion and thoughts matter, so call now, 218-862-9829.
You've looked high and low. You think you've tried it all, and you still have yet to say, wow, I love how I'm feeling now. Imagine being able to eliminate a lot of your supplements and being able to get results all from one source that's been overmarketed, oversold, and underdelivered. The difference between this one supplement and all the others can be vast, and that difference will determine if you come alive or remain burdened. Call this free recorded message at 866-844-1047. That's 866-844-1047.
Live from the Overthrow Bunker and FEMA Region 9, you're listening to Santilli.
Okay, we've also published on our Facebook page, if you go to facebook.com/Guerrilla Media, Guerilla Media, okay? Guerrilla Media. It says here, let's help get Pete out on the road for 1 month. Plus, we have a listener who's volunteered their new RV for a road trip, but the expenses for 1 month will require your support. Every single penny will go towards continuing our round-the-clock coverage and reporting as we, the people, try to take back our country and restore the U.S. Constitution. If you wish to support through GoFundMe, please go to our Facebook page and make your contribution. We have received, I think, $250-something. You'll see that on the page. Now, just picture this. We have 240,000 plus people on that page. Okay. Now, when I say that we receive a small portion from our listenership, it's a very small portion, okay? If you are interested, and we will provide an exact accounting of where this money is going to go, and we're going to make that publicly available. Every dime is going to go towards making sure that we provide you round-the-clock coverage, and we absolutely give you our solemn word that it will be on your behalf. We, the people, will come together. We will put, essentially, you're going to be paying for cameras, for audio recording, and if you believe that it's good sound press coverage, true press coverage of these events that are going to be coming in the days, weeks, and months, please go to our Facebook page and contribute to GoFundMe because we are literally paying and volunteering out of our pockets, and we just will not be able to. We will not be able to sustain what we're doing right now without your support and help. But you will benefit directly. You're going to be making an investment so that you, if you can't get out, we'll bring it to you. That's essentially what we're doing here. Okay. So thank you very much for all of your support. Susanna, if you have anything to add to that, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go to the telephones right now.
You know what? It really is important for everyone to dig deep and to donate to what we're doing here, and so that we can bring the news faster. We can help more people. We're getting calls in every single day, and we're getting alerts and messages about other ranchers out there. There's one in particular in Texas, and we just do not have we don't have the manpower to cover everything. So a donation would help us get the equipment, get the manpower that we need. So if you can help, that would be fantastic. And if you can't, just keep listening, okay? Because, we surely do appreciate everything our listeners do for us every day.
And if you have the means to contribute a sizable amount, just know that will help offset. Unfortunately, I mean, you can see the numbers yourself. 240,000 people on the page. We have millions of listeners. We collect literally hundreds of dollars. Okay, so if you have the means to contribute more, every single penny. For instance, we just, we had to get special battery packs because we're a smaller operation. We don't have tens of thousands of dollars in equipment that it requires to stay continuous coverage with battery packs out in the field. We need that, and we've made those purchases out of our pocket. So, anyways, this is for you, to bring you the coverage, especially if you're across the country, you got a job, you can't get out, but we want to provide you with the best coverage possible as we, the people, take back our country. That's what this is about. This isn't about some special little campaign or a media little blitz. This is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. You are going to be investing on getting you the most accurate and honest information that the mainstream media is not going to be providing to you. If you like what we did at Bundy Ranch, we're going to continue that trend towards peaceful constitutional take back of our country. Okay? All right. Let's
you know what, Pete, before you move on, I want to ask you something, because I think everybody wants to know the answer to this. And it's something I don't think has been asked you. And I already know the answer, but because I was there with you. I mean, you stayed in such great contact with the people back here, keeping you on the stream, getting you out there so everybody could hear what you were saying, that we all felt like we were there. I mean, that's how closely connected you stayed with us. But I want to, and I know the answer to this, but was there ever a point that you thought that you were going to die?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. I would say the answer to that question is that the thought is probably not the most important thing. I would say the response in my soul was that these principles that I personally made, these principles that caused me to make this decision, was it is the right thing to do as a former United States Marine, as somebody sworn to uphold my oath to the U.S. Constitution, and for my fellow Americans and for my family members, especially my neighbors, my community members, our listeners. I, without any hesitation, will say that I will die a free man. I will not die a slave, and I will do everything peacefully to try to get our country back. I'm prepared to die in that effort. There's no doubt about it. And I speak of that, not encouraging everybody else to do that. You have to make a personal decision. As a former United States Marine, this is everything I prepared for in my entire life, and there wasn't any hesitation whatsoever. I had AR-15s pointed at me, 2 of them, beginning with the riots. I said to myself, if they pull the trigger and drop me right here, hopefully people will get the message. But I will die a free man. I will die a free man. I will not die a slave under tyranny, no doubt about it. Now, I'm not saying this. You asked me the question, and I answered it back. But this is the true power, that if we in our souls believe in the same way that I believe what I just said, if we all believe that, there's nothing they can do to overpower us. Nothing they can do to overpower us. There are no guns that can overpower what I just said. No guns.
I know that after it was over, well, several times during our conversations, during the whole thing, even on the way there to the ranch, you were saying to me, this somehow feels like an out-of-body experience. It's surrealistic. It's, and especially afterwards, you were like, I can't even, it doesn't even register what just happened, what just happened to us when you came up out of there, It was almost like your mind could not wrap around it for a few minutes.
No, and we were one trigger pull away from a bloody massacre. One trigger pull, and for it to turn out the way it did, I don't care who you are. I want you to listen to me and learn about who I am. There's no doubt in my mind, there's nobody that can tell me anything other than the following: that the relationship that I have with my God was watching over us. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. We'll be right back.
With email, Skype, Facebook, Twitter, and cell phones, we're more connected than ever before. But there are huge privacy and security problems with all of them. Things are being blocked where they're needed most, where people are fighting for their beliefs. Now, wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to replace Skype, Facebook, email, and messaging with something more secure so you can communicate freely? Ready to change the world? Introducing Unseen, the first free, secure, and private communication platform. Secure chat, secure messaging, secure content delivery, like nothing else. Unseen gives you the key to freedom. You have the power to change the world. Sign up now for free to give freedom.
Is he on?
Hi, folks. Ronnie McMullen here, talking to you about the immune system. As a talk show host, one of the major topics is health. It seems there are powers that be that want and desire the public to be sick. These are huge topics discussed on my show, but there is a way to combat this sick system. Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is an all-natural product that gently cleanses your inside, gives you more energy, and builds your immune system. All organic and a natural weapon against toxicity. Customers have been buying year supplies to make sure they're prepared and healthy. Interested? You should be. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com, or you can call us direct at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. On the Ronnie McMullen Show, these topics get covered. On the Get the Tea website, these topics are addressed. Get rid of the dis before ease. You'll just be left at ease. That's getthetea.com.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company.
The saga of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces is a very tasty story. Tahiti Joe went exploring the South Seas for the spices and was easily sidetracked, but don't tell his lady.
Then, after a few months, Tahiti Joe blended a beautiful array of spices with clam juice and honey.
It had a sweet tropical flavor, and with the heat of the peppers, it reminded him of the islands.
Tahiti Joe had to name the new sauce, and Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces was born. Try it as a chicken wing sauce.
Barbecue, marinade,
or use it to create a delicious Polynesian Mary.
So, visit www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com today to satisfy your cravings for
tropical taste sensation.
www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com.
This is Dr. Judy Wood, author of Where Did the Towers Go? And you're listening to The Pete Santilli Show, telling you the truth about 9/11 evidence, whether you like it or not.
Okay, I think we're back with Patrick after, let's see, that's the 8th time trying to connect here. And we're going to go to Patrick, and we're also going to go to a little bit of overtime as necessary, okay? To get to your calls as well, we have callers on the line. We will be getting to you. Patrick, welcome back. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Pete?
Yeah, is it GCHQ that's trying to cut you off out there? Or what are they doing?
Probably. I think it's Glenn Beck's special attachment trying to block the call there. But anyway, yeah, I was going to say a few things, and also I wanted to make an announcement. Someone had passed away yesterday who's, I think, very important to the work that we do. I'll probably say that there's a gentleman by the name of John Judge, and I don't know if you're familiar with the work of John Judge.
I'm not.
But he was the internet before there was an internet. He was among the JFK assassination, but also the world government, corporatocracy, New World Order in the 1980s. His work, his research, he collected news clippings from all the way back to, Second World War, kept files, had a newsletter. He died yesterday, and he was, to me, a giant. He was a giant, and is his work that the alternative media was built on top of. And he was based in Washington, D.C., and a great guy, from what I can gather.
John Judge.
John Judge, R.I.P. He will be missed.
R.I.P. John Judge, and thank you for bringing his name to my. It was the first time that I had ever heard of him, so thank you for bringing that to our attention. Yep, R.I.P.
And I just wanted to comment quickly, Pete. You know, Chuck Hagel said that he made an announcement that any groups in the eastern Ukraine, all illegal armed groups must disarm. Doesn't that sound familiar, Pete? So this is our federal government stance globally. You know, they weren't saying for the groups in Maidan Square to disarm a couple of months ago because they weren't deemed illegal by the U.S. government. But now these separatists in eastern Ukraine are taking up arms and not happy with the way things are going. And now they're in an illegal armed group, just like the way that they view the people who were at the Bundy Ranch as being, they would like to say they're an illegal armed group, but they haven't got the law behind them yet. And so I have to point that out, Pete.
I don't think that there is any militia member or any citizen that wouldn't agree with this. That if we had the sheriff's department who was constitutional, lawful, and were there to protect the people and stood between the people and the federal government, we would not have been forced to take up arms. That's the truth.
Absolutely. Jim Traficant, who is to me a tour de force, by the way. That's one of the most powerful interviews I've heard on your show yet. And you've had some pretty powerful ones. Jim Traficant basically laid it all out on the line there perfectly. And it's exactly what he said. He said that sheriff should be standing between the people, the citizens, and the federal guns. And if the sheriff is not willing to do that, well, then there's really no point in him having a badge, really. Because that's should be one of his first chief and foremost duties as a law enforcement officer, and having all the deputies under his command. And the fact that he didn't really speaks volumes, about what value that particular sheriff has to that county, which is very little. After you look at that situation, what was a crisis in the Bundy Ranch. So Traficant was on the money as usual.
On the money. Patrick, do you have any other stories we need to cover? We're not going to wrap up here. We're going to go into overtime because there's some callers we need to take and some other news stories we need to cover.
Yeah. I just wanted to also just re-underline the fact that, there's a number of very odd talking points coming out to demonize the Bundy family. One of them is, words by Sheriff Mack taken out of context about women and children being forced to the front line. I don't think this has a lot of traction. Mm-hmm. And it's a really hard sell. And the Occupy thing that Glenn Beck is pushing out, that talking point, that also has very little traction because all those were basically contrived movements. The Occupy movement was a contrived movement. It didn't have any specific objectives. It was just a big kind of day out on the street or months out on the street for various people. What happened in Bunkerville, Pete, was spontaneous. It was a call for defense. It was one citizen calling for his fellow neighbors to come in his aid because he was being bullied by a greater force, in a despotic force. And that you can't make that happen. It just happened.
Patrick, can I go off real quick? And
yeah.
I'm going to try to restrain myself. All right.
Yeah.
Right now we have President Obama, is providing non-lethal aid to the Ukraine, such as helmets and sleeping bags.
And guns.
Moments ago, in a show of continued solidarity with the people of the Western Ukraine, U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel announced the latest batch of non-lethal aid to the Ukraine. Among them, items that are to be shipped: sleeping mats, water purification systems, medical supplies, and, of course, helmets at the rate of $5,000 to $10,000 for helmets at the expense of the taxpayer. We're sending support to the Ukrainian freedom fighters, and we are demonizing the freedom fighters at Bundy Ranch. This is not just a ploy to spin this thing. This is the God's honest truth. We are peaceful people that want to go help the Bundys. We are peaceful Americans, and they are helping the Ukrainians.
And here's the bottom line, Pete. All that money that the BLM shakes down independent farmers and ranchers with, to collect the whatever taxes, fees, whatever taxes, basically. That money goes to Ukrainian military. Okay, that's essentially, or to Syrian Al-Qaeda. Okay, that's where the money's going. That's why the federal government needs to collect at the barrel of a gun to shake down with their protection racket that they run all across the country, and they have to do it. And again, Traficant said it so perfectly, Pete, is that why do they have to use intimidation and threats of violence to shake us down for money? At some point, Americans are going to look at this and say, we've had enough. Throw out the tax code, burn it, rewrite it.
Is this not enough for them to take our tax dollars, okay, and support the Ukrainian freedom fighters, whether or not they deserve it, okay? And to leave.
They're not freedom fighters. They're supporting a government that has the means to do it themselves.
Yes. But let's say we'll go by their narrative. They believe that they're taking taxpayer dollars to go support the free people of the Ukraine. That's the narrative, right?
Yeah, or the free Islamic jihadists of the Free Syrian Army.
Oh, the Free Syrian Army. Yeah.
Or wherever they are, Pete, wherever they are in the world. We seem to throwing money all around the planet for guns and arms and whatever. It's
Susanna.
Yeah, can I ask you both a question? You know, it just dawned on me, and this is just a question because I just thought of it. But do you think people like Glenn Beck, and even this is even happening in alternative media as I'm reading the responses of other journalists and the position everyone's taking, and you know the whole Wall Street thing keeps coming up, like where were you and this and that and the other, you know. So first of all, I think groups like in America have gotten to the point where they support things like animals. And they will die for it. I mean, you can go back in history and you can see where liberals literally tree hugging comes. When you hear the term tree hugging, they literally did that in the biggest way. They chained themselves to trees. Just back in the late 90s, they were killing liberals. Okay, animal rights activists were killing park rangers that eventually are now called the BLM because that's all they are. They were killing park rangers. They were blowing up buildings over trees. But, you know, you take a stand to protect another human being, and these same people that would give their life to protect a tree are coming back and saying, you're a bunch of right-wing extremists. And I think that's so hypocritical. That is so hypocritical. But do you think people like Glenn Beck and other people in alternative media that we know, do you think that they are doing this on purpose to try to bring the argument back to the internet, you know, back to talking points, back to the internet, so that, you know, people won't be so inclined to actually be at present with the Bundys or people like the Bundys protecting other human beings, you know? So they bring it back to the internet so it kind of diffuses everything. They want to keep the argument on the internet. That's the way I'm seeing this.
Yeah, because Occupy was totally contrived, and most of these movements are contrived to some degree, and they're co-opted and they're infiltrated very easily. But the Bundy situation was spontaneous. The people came in defense.
It didn't have time to get infiltrated.
They did not have time to do that. And guess who was dictating the pace of the whole thing? Cliven Bundy dictated the agenda himself and dictated the pace, and they did not know what to do. They did not have time to screw it up.
They were so quiet during the whole thing, Patrick and Pete. Seriously, we were watching and waiting for the attack to come, and they were so quiet. And I think Patrick has that right. I think that it surprised them. It shocked them. They didn't think the American people had it in them, and they really didn't know what to do. I really believe that.
I want to
say quickly, Pete, I'll let you get in, but basically they lost control of the narrative. They haven't been able to spin it properly. And because of that, they're trying desperately, Glenn Beck and all the other establishment hacks are trying desperately to get a hold of it and control it somehow. But this narrative out of the Bundy Ranch is like a wild bull. You can't wrestle it to the ground. It's too wild. It goes right to the heart of what it means to be an American.
Okay.
Right.
Listen, I'm going to have, I have no choice at this point in time because I believe that Alex Jones also needs to be held to account. We come back after the top of the hour. We're going to go into overtime. Okay. I have to, I have to applaud and praise the work of a citizen named David Knight for his courage in the line of fire in there. I'm going to applaud him. Thank goodness he did that for us. Thank goodness things worked out great, but he was prepared to die. He knew that he had guns pointed at him, and that if one shot was fired, he would have died. That's a fact. I have to call out Alex Jones for the benefit of our listeners to figure out what's happening here. Alex Jones needs to be held to account. We'll be back with that right after this message. You observed him smacking well-to-do girls in the butt. The Pete Santilli Show, the flagship show of the Guerrilla Media Network. I believe, don't mess with me and don't take my stuff. You see these fists? I'm gonna use them to beat the F out of you.
The Pete Santilli Show.
Even above and beyond the state-run, CIA-infiltrated media.
You're listening to The Pete Santilli Show.
On the Guerrilla Media Network.
Here we go.
Life Change Tea is hitting America by storm, and here's why. Chris from Wyoming says, I lost 15 pounds in 1 month taking the fat burners in the tea. Very happy with it. Definitely cleans you out. Sue from Arkansas says, it cleared up the fog in my brain. I like it. Karen from Ohio says, I love this stuff. One of the things I've noticed is that I sleep better. I don't usually sleep well, but I think getting all of this stuff out of me is helping me sleep better. Now I sleep at night and don't feel like I need a nap during the day. Within 36 hours, I noticed that I had more energy. I feel like the me that I was 20 years ago. And if you would like to feel like you were 20 years ago, why don't you give Life Change Tea a try? Here's how you get it. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. And you never know. Send us your testimony and you might be in a commercial. Life Change Tea at getthetea.com.
GMN is not your parents' news network.
This is Dr. Judy Wood, author of Where Did the Towers Go? And you're listening to The Pete Santilli Show, telling you the truth about 9/11 evidence, whether you like it or not.
Pete Santilli Show, causing libtards to come unglued since 2011.
Hi, this is Pete Santilli. How are you?
Hi, I just want to tell you what a douchebag you are, dude.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
This is Audio Soldier from the Sunday Night Reboot Show with this special message. GMN needs the support of each of our listeners since we will never take a dime from major corporations. Your contributions are not only appreciated, they are critical to maintaining our independence and loyalty to our listeners. Please visit www.gmn.is or GuerrillaMediaNetwork.com and click on the donate button now. Our donors and members will have access to our chat rooms, forums, and daily downloads of commercial-free iTunes podcasts. Please donate now.
Dum da dum da dum da dum da 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 dum da dum da dum da dum da da da.
All right, we're going to come back. We're going to be commercial uninterrupted here and taking your calls and covering news.
I walk into the room, passing out $100 bills, and it kills and it thrills like the horns on my Silverado grill. And I buy the bar a double round of Crown, and everybody's getting down in this town. Ain't never gonna be the same, 'cause I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city. I make a lot of noise, 'cause the girls, they all so pretty. Riding up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy, and the girls say, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Woo-hoo! Save a horse.
That's right. Everybody get fired up to save a horse and ride a cowboy. I want to encourage especially all you stay-at-home moms to turn to your men from make tweeter men, especially you libtardish side of the world. Convert your man to a cowboy. Okay, that's my message to you. Now we're back, and I'm gonna make a public statement here. This is nothing that I planned for. This is impromptu. Okay, Susanna, you ready? She always puckers up when I get in this mode. All right. David Knight. Okay, true American hero, great reporter, and I say a true American hero in the following context. That man consciously, willfully, voluntarily put himself in the line of fire, period. He knew we were one trigger pull. I'm talking about 1,000 rounds being expended. One person fires a shot. It was all over. The BLM would have been completely wiped out by 500 militia members. Okay, that is a fact. Okay, but rounds would have been flying exactly where he was. That man is a hero. His coverage, we all benefited from. Okay, all of our listeners did, those that followed his coverage. He did good, responsible reporting, was very aggressive on the ground. Alex Jones, on the other hand, maybe he had an opportunity to go. I don't know what kept him back at the farm. That's okay. That was a decision he had to make. Okay, but for Alex Jones to participate, not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times. I could count probably minimally 5 separate occasions where Alex Jones himself has participated in, and we call it fear-mongering. And we say that Alex Jones' objective, if you go look up Alex Jones and what he did on Y2K, okay? Bill Cooper called him out for it, for irresponsible reporting. Alex Jones either is too stupid to understand what we're doing right now, or he's specifically being paid by somebody to keep everyone home. Not only did he do it on Y2K, scaring everybody about Y2K, that the Russians were coming, ICBM missiles were en route, he was receiving faxes. It was not only fear-mongering, it was false reporting. Bill Cooper called him on it, okay? And I'm going to call, on behalf of Bill Cooper, the late, great Bill Cooper, RIP Bill Cooper, I'm going to call him on it today, to also, because Bill Cooper hasn't been around, to witness Alex Jones with his people on the ground. I have this documented. He sent InfoWars people on the ground to the trucker protest to say that I was an FBI agent. I have witnesses to that effect, to try to steer clear people from paying attention to our coverage on GMN. He sent a person there to do that. Not only did he do that, 3 days in advance of the trucker protest in October 11th, 12th, and 13th, Alex Jones was reporting that truckers were going to break the law, that nukes were going to be positioned, that it was a potential false flag. And Alex Jones worked towards and tried to pretend that he was doing reporting. And in fact, his reporting that he does in advance of an event is to keep people home. He specifically wants you so scared that you'll never show up to any of these events. Now, I challenge Alex Jones at the next event to show up right next to Pete Santilli, side by side. I want to see if Alex Jones has the balls to tell his people the following. And he's told his people, his listeners, tens of millions of listeners, to stand down. Let them rape women. I have this on audio recording. He said, stand down, let them rape women. You can protect them. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting what he has said. Alex Jones is not a former United States Marine. Alex Jones is working for an entity, or he's working against humanity by asking people not to go. I want Alex Jones to join me in the following. I'm going to say this right up front. If you feel compelled to go, even in the heat, if you believe that it's going to be a war zone and you feel compelled to go, you go in defense of your nation. You go courageously like David Knight did. If you feel that that's your obligation as an American citizen to stand for those peaceful protesters, as David Knight did, to document, even knowing full well that you might die doing so, but you believe in those principles, I challenge Alex Jones to have the same courage as David Knight. Okay. And I challenge Alex Jones to encourage all of his listeners to rise up, because now is the time to take another event, okay, and to make it a peaceful protest by having these tens of millions of listeners show up to the next event, not to scare them away and keep them away. He's already in the mode right now, Alex Jones is, of telling people that the next one's going to be a massacre. The next one is this. The next one is that. Alex Jones, who are you working for? Are you working for the American people and for people all around the world that are looking to us to come together in masses of people, even backed by a citizenry that is forced to arm to defend ourselves? And to suggest that, I want to suggest that, yes, we want the exact identical scenario to take place at the next one, and make sure that, guess what? Even if something stupid happens, that we're not going to back down on our principles. We're not going to be afraid. We're not going to sit on the internet and click on Alex Jones's website and buy boner medicine from Leanne McAdoo. We're not going to do that. This is America. We're going to stand and fight. We're going to obey our oath to the Constitution. We're going to fill our obligations to God, our country, our families. And I say Marine Corps myself. Alex Jones, you need to stand down, dude. You need to back off on your, it's not just fear-mongering. When I say fear-mongering with the intent to keep people home. Alex Jones has personally set out to write reports to keep everybody shaking in their freaking boots, dating all the way back to when Bill Cooper called him out on it, when he falsely reported that ICBM missiles were pointed at us and that Putin was going to be firing them at us back at Y2K. Alex Jones, you can change your ways, okay? And the best way to do that is to stand side by side with guys like David Knight, with Sheriff Mack, with Stuart Rhodes, with Pete Santilli, with Clive and Bunny. I'm putting myself into the mix because you know what? I didn't see Alex Jones there. Alex Jones he's been evading me for this reason, okay? Because he knows I'll call him out. Alex Jones doesn't even have the courage to show up on the same property as me, because I'll get in his face and I'll call him out on it, because he needs to start manning up and start becoming a freaking American with some courage and some balls that's willing to stand and fight for everything he's been spewing for the past 15 years. He built this freaking thing, and what is he to do? The same thing that Ron Paul did. When it comes down to it, right at the finish line, he fell on his face. And that's who Alex Jones is representing and supporting, is Rand Paul. Rand Paul, who wants Agenda 21 and supporting the NDAA. That's who Alex Jones is supporting. Alex Jones, you can change your ways, man. You're right at the freaking finish line. What are you going to do? Are you going to lead your people to battle? Are you going to tell them to stand down like the pussy that you are? What are you going to do? I challenge you to meet me on the field of battle in any place in America, and you show us what kind of fucking balls you have. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to rise up and go, and to have a barbecue, and to round up as many people as you can to go there and say, you know what? We are men and women of peace and principle, and we have God on our side, and we will stand there. And if the federal government wants to kill us, then that proves our point, that they are prepared to kill American people with the taxpayer dollars that we've given them. I'm prepared to lay my life on the line to prove my freaking point that these are our enemies. And if I have to, I don't want to be martyred. And I wasn't martyred, but I was fully aware of what could happen. Alex Jones, kid in his freaking air-conditioned, you know what, Alex, come out. Let's go for a jog, dude. How about that? Let's go for a run up and down the hills at Bundy Ranch. Let's freaking have a conversation. Let's get out there in the face of freaking tyranny. Stop scaring people and telling them not to go out there. You tell them to be courageous and to go there in the face of tyranny and stand up and fight. And stop reporting on nukes showing up everywhere. Oh my God, don't go to Washington, D.C. because there's nukes there. Oh my God, don't show up because the National Guard is there. Oh my God, don't listen to Pete Santilli because he's an FBI agent. Oh my God, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Stand down, let them rape women. Alex Jones, Bill Cooper's voice lives on, and it's going to live on through me. And I'm going to hold your balls by the freaking... Everyone go. Go there. And I'm saying you need to make the decision personally. Do not listen to Alex Jones. Do not listen to everyone that's telling you that Sean Hannity is trying to lead people to freaking slaughter, because that's not true. Sean Hannity is a great American, courageous hero that nobody's telling him what not to cover or what to cover. He's doing it on his own. I'm going to tell you that. I know this for a fact, that Fox News and the people that are presenting the truth through Fox News are on our side, and they're doing so courageously, probably in opposition to what freaking Rupert Murdoch and his New World Order wants them to do. Stand up. Stand and fight, and don't listen to people who want to scare you from going there. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. Don't let them rape women. You stand and fight, defend your women. You know why? Because when it came down to it, the women of Bundy Ranch had more balls than Alex Jones did. You stand and defend those women. Alex Jones has said it, and if I have to play his freaking voice on the air, telling his listeners to stand down and let them rape women, I'm going to tell you something right now. You touch any one of those Bundy women. And in fact, this is what I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to wait and you don't think now is the time, and they fire one shot at anybody, that's when we need to get millions of people there and show them that you will never, ever, 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 you will always regret that move. That's the time when we escalate and we go and we make sure that we show up in the tens of millions. That's the message I want. I want Alex Jones to join me in sending. Now, he's going to probably come out and say, Pete Santilli is a provocateur. No, Pete Santilli was out at Bundy Ranch. I was provoking and inciting exactly what took place. That's what I was promoting and inciting. So, Alex Jones, guess what? Your bullets are freaking, you might as well start taking Viagra medicine to make that point a little bit clearer. Pete Santilli's not going to be your little provocateur, because Pete Santilli was provoking and inciting exactly what took place at Bundy Ranch. I'm calling him out on it, and I'm not afraid to do that. Now, he can change, and I can honor him just as much as I've honored David Knight by being courageous and growing some balls. And standing up like those cowboys out there, like David Knight and those other. David Knight is a cowboy in my eyes, I'll tell you that much. Patrick, can I go to the telephone lines? Do you mind?
Yes, go to the calls. Yep.
David, is there anybody that's going to tell you not to rise up at a time when we need people to rise up? Is there anyone that's going to tell you what not to do?
Pete, I have been struggling with targeted individuals for 3 decades, actually 31 years now. So nobody's going to tell me what's going on in America. They're not going to be able to tell me anything about the Randy Reavers. They're not going to be able to tell me anything about the Bundys. They're not going to be able to tell me about the one. We were one trigger pull away, just like you said. It's nothing but God and his angels, okay, that were protecting individuals out there. One trigger pull away from another Kent State, one trigger pull away from annihilation. It would have been bad. It would have been a bloodbath. So you're absolutely correct there. My expertise, and I have to get this out if I can. If I can't, then just shut me down.
Very quickly.
My expertise is the bad sheriffs targeting U.S. citizens with directed energy weapons, more specifically information technology, information weapons, psychotronic warfare, psychotronic technology. It's all the same, according to many physicists and scientists. It's all
David, here's the deal, though. Do me a favor, okay? I will, you know what? I will rededicate, and you know I will. When I give you my word, I will use this opportunity. Speaking to a large portion of our audience is brand new. They're not even aware of this stuff. But I'm going to say that what David's talking about is going to be slightly off topic from where we're at. We're going to ease everybody into it. But David, I'm not cutting you off, but I really want to stay on these topics. If you please allow me, so a little bit more time to plan. I want to plan so that we can still cover these issues at a time when we have a lot of new listeners. I really want to do that on behalf of the TIs. We did the Mind Control Marathon. These are facts, ladies and gentlemen, that we'll be presenting to you. But please, will you allow me to do that later?
Oh, no problem, and I applaud you for going out to Nevada. I really do, and many people do.
I was out there.
You were on the front lines along with other people.
Deborah
I just applaud you for that move.
Thank you so much. Deborah Tavares was out there. I interviewed her on the show. This is a lot of information to absorb. I'll tell you what, people are just barely able to absorb that the federal government wanted to shoot their own people, okay? They're barely accepting that. Patrick, do you have any comment, or Susanna, before I go to the next call? Tell me.
Yeah, Pete. I do actually. Can you hear me okay, Pete?
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, the thing that I liked about David Knight was that he was giving, with all the stuff going on, he was still giving like play-by-play coverage, so that if you weren't at the event, you could hear his voice. He has a good voice as well for broadcasting. You could hear his voice, and you could put yourself in the position, and he was reporting it factually as it happened.
Right.
So it wasn't David Knight, the personality. It was David Knight, the reporter. Okay.
That's right.
And that's the difference between when David Knight shows up and when Alex Jones shows up. Alex shows up with a bullhorn, an entourage of 40 or 50 people, all with their iPhones pointed at him, like at Bilderberg.
Right.
And then starts shouting through the bullhorn and becomes like a kind of a sideshow of sorts.
Right.
And that's not press coverage. That's something else altogether. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't actually show up, because he probably wouldn't be able to do that. But again, great job by David Knight. I mean, awesome.
And
really.
his cameraman. His cameraman was right there, right at his side
as well. Yeah.
I don't know what his name is.
They came. They had a job to do to get the information out, the coverage out. They did it very well, and it stands on record. And so you can always go back to that if you want to know what it was like, what was happening right then and there. He provided a record of the event, and it's so important. And it was great to see that from InfoWars, actually. So, again, I'm going to say at Bilderberg, the real Bilderberg conference wasn't at the Grove Hotel in Watford, although the circus was there, Alex was there, all the David Icke was there, all the personalities were there, all the big party was there. The real Bilderberg was in Croydon by Gatwick Airport on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So again, where are the people following? Are they following a circus, or do they want to find out where the real event is and what's really happening?
That's right.
So, and I have to point that out. That's what happened last year. Bilderberg, the actual conference, the real steering committee meetings were not at the Grove Hotel in Watford. That was for R&R and some social events, and they had a few big corporate presentations by Reuters and others. But the real meetings were across town and days before. So they hoodwinked the whole alternative media because everyone was following the circus. And we don't need the circus. We need press coverage. We need information.
I have a special announcement. We now have at our GoFundMe account, we went from $283 to $1,783, and our goal is $10,000. And I want to thank each and every one of you that made those. We got Randall, we've got anonymous people. Justin, thank you. Everyone, keep the flow going, and we will. We will use every single penny to go towards my field reporting and continuous coverage. So thank you. Please don't stop there. Please contribute however much you can. Excuse me. I just took a drink of water and should burp. Can I go to the phones here unless you have another comment, Patrick?
Go to the callers.
We had an anonymous donor donate $1,500. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is phenomenal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. If you can do it, please, if we have anybody that can match that, our goal right now, minimally for right now, if we can get to $10,000, we're going to apply all those funds. We get equipment. We got to pay for expenses. We have somebody who donated an RV. I'm going to make sure that this person's going to be recognized for what they're doing. They donated the use of their RV to get me out on the road. Okay. So, Stacy, how are you, Stacy?
Hey, Pete, how you doing?
Is there anybody? Okay, now you're a woman. I want you to speak on just from the heart as a woman.
I so plan to speak about this.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm going
to
ask you a question.
The whole reason why I called. Let me tell you something.
Let me ask you a question first. Let me ask you a question.
Wait a minute. You don't even have to ask me because I'm just going to tell you. When God works in a woman, there ain't no stopping her. There is no man.
No.
Nobody can tell this woman what to do. So even if there was a strategy or whatever to put women on the front line, I'm not going to do it unless I want to.
Yeah.
Period.
There was no strategy, by the way, to do that. There were no strategies.
But I can tell you this much, is the society has set people up to believe that women are these lesser, weaker vessels, and we're not. We are not. When God needs something done, he calls the willing. He don't care if you're a man, woman, or child. He just needs a willing heart. That's all he's looking for.
The women volunteered. The Bundy women volunteered to go up to the front. And you know what? I would say not because that they said we're going to be led to slaughter and we're going to do it. The symbolism that we intended. We didn't go there with guns in their face. Did you notice that? We had the backing of the militia if the men and women and family members were harmed. But the symbolism alone that we meant peace, we told them in advance that we were going to have men, women, children, family members that are disarmed going to demand the cattle back. We said it before it actually happened, and the women volunteered to go up to the front. And guess what? Does that mean that we meant war? We had women, the Bundy family members, go up to the front lines, volunteer to be there. Did that mean that we wanted war?
No. It just means we wanted cattle back.
That's right.
That's all it means. And the women were there to help, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had all my life, I've had people try to make me into this passive woman, wear dresses, do this, and fit into this little box. And you know what? I couldn't do it. I am not that type of woman.
You know what
I am the type that will stand by anybody that wants to fight a battle for my rights.
I have an idea. You ready?
Shoot.
The Second Amendment shall not be infringed, but I think it also needs to be further extended that all men should have the unalienable right to keep and bear a woman in defense of his nation. What do you think? Right? Because I'd rather have a woman. I'd rather have a Bundy woman right in front of me than have a freaking bullet. Because I tell you what, man, don't mess with the Bundy women. Don't mess with the American women who are going to stand up and fight for their family members, for their children, for their husbands, and they will to the absolute death. That's what American women are all about.
Yes, and people that understand that rights, the inherent rights that we have, that you guys were out there protesting for, those rights are for every man, woman, and child. So whose job is it to stand up for those rights? It's each person that wants to keep them. Doesn't matter if it's a man, woman, or child.
That's right, and no one shall. And we men have an inalienable right to keep and bear women, and it shall not be infringed. Right?
And women have the same right to keep and bear men.
There we go. All right, you're awesome. We love you very much. All right, Stacey?
Thanks, Pete.
Don't let Alex Jones scare you into staying home because nukes are going to be dropped on my, if they want to drop nukes, oh well. We'll at least die free, won't we?
That's exactly right.
That's right. All right, Stacey, take care. All right.
Bye.
Patrick, any comments? Susanna, come on. Yeah, I know you got a comment on that one. Huh?
I got nothing to say against that. That's true words have never been spoken.
That's right. Men have the right. They do.
They absolutely have the right. We have Michael in New York. Behind every courageous man is a very, very powerful woman. No matter who you are, that's the truth. It may be your mom. Michael, who's the woman in your life that is more courageous and more deadly than anybody would ever want to mess with, Michael?
Well, I'll tell you this, Pete. As a true American male, I respect women more than anything. They are incredible creatures, and I thank the good Lord every day that I have the pleasure of being in their company often because they are special, very special creatures. And I just wish that a lot of women, especially the young ones that haven't discovered their true nature yet, get away from the influences that make them think they're just a piece of meat and dress and behave in a very disrespectful to themselves, unladylike fashion. Because women and all men, as I tell friends all the time, male friends all the time, especially young guys growing up, the code of chivalry is the highest code that any real man can adhere to live by. And if that's why our country's in the mess that it is, Peter, because there aren't enough real men living by the code of chivalry. And if more men were, we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in, because real men that behave like true knights and their only king being Jesus the Christ and the Almighty himself, they live in such a virtuous way that no kind of crap would ever be tolerated anywhere in the local neighborhoods or at the state, county, or federal levels, and this country would be beautiful. And so, I really have tremendous respect and adoration to the female sex. And I just want to mention on James Traficant that he should be running for president. But besides that, real quick, before I get back to some points that he made, let's recall, I don't know if you remember the Ed and Elaine Brown incident with the IRS out in New Hampshire.
Yes.
A number of, maybe 4 or 5 years ago already. Back then, Alex Jones falsely reported that they were burning the place down, and this is the big one, and it wasn't happening. So there's another example of him just trying to get people to be in constant fear and false reporting to hype things up and maybe stir up trouble. When it's not time to stir up such trouble.
You know what? I don't think Alex Jones has the balls to stir up trouble. I think what he's doing is causing people to want to stay home. His objective is to stay at home, you clicking on his website so that he can sell boner medicine. Okay? I'm serious. I don't think he has the guts to stir anything up. Because you know what? If he really wanted to stir stuff up, you know what he would have done? He would have gone there. Thank God he's not that type of person that would go there and do that. But if you really wanted to stir something up, you'd be out there. I'll tell you what, I did my work with Daniel P. Love. I recorded everything. I'm going to throw him under the freaking bus. I wasn't in his face when it came down to it. I did not want to instigate, okay? So I stayed back. I was yards away from that front line for a very good reason, because I did not want to instigate anything. There were people that were there that were more than qualified to help negotiate a peaceful resolution there. Now, Alex Jones, his objective, and I'm going to say this right now, unless he can prove me otherwise, and I'll take these words back. Alex Jones's objective through his reporting is to create so much fear that everybody stays home. My objective is to do the exact opposite, to get there, have a barbecue for peace, and do so in the millions. They can never overpower our souls. That's what I'm inspiring, and that's what I'm inciting. Okay?
No question, and Peter, that guy is a fearmonger all the way. That's for sure. And like Patrick just said, hi Pat, hi Suzanne, that he uses the bullhorn. We never have seen him over these years be side by side with someone such as yourself and other people from other venues out there reporting the events as they're unfolding. He's got to be in his own spot with the spotlight on him in his own place, hogging up everything, and he doesn't like competition. He is definitely very, very questionable. Now, with James Traficant, I just want to say that the points about everything that he said was great, spot on.
Quickly, I have a VIP caller that just called in. I'm sure you're going to love hearing from him, but please hurry.
Okay, before we create a national sales tax, let's make sure that we scale back the federal government, get rid of all the agencies so it's not bloated, so we don't have to pay a fortune in taxes every year to support anything, so that the national sales tax is still very reasonable and the fruits of everybody's labor remains in their pockets annually.
That's right. And let's start off by disarming the federal agents that are using our taxpayer dollars to buy AR-15s to stick in our face. That's the first step. Thank you. Oh, Michael, I'm sorry. I disconnected Michael. All right. It wasn't to cut you off. I apologize. Patrick, any comments before I go to our next caller you're going to love hearing from?
You got a VIP caller. You have to take it.
V. His name is Vinny Boombots.
Vinny Boombots.
Vinny, what's up, man?
You don't have to sell boner medicine, because after what you've done for us down at the ranch, you are now the personification of the perpetually erect walking boner of the independent media.
Oh, Boombots.
So you need to sell the opposite medicine to get it down a bit, because it's like never going to go down after what you've done.
You want me to give a stand down order? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Stand down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Pete Santilli, private label stand down medicine.
Pete, we need a constitutional sheriff to give that order, actually.
Free samples to make everybody go limp. Right?
Yeah, give it to the Bureau of Land Management. They can use some limping.
In fact, you know what we should do? We should sell Pete Santilli Bundy women estrogen. Right?
Yeah.
To give our men more courage, because obviously they're lacking the testosterone. Rather than get testosterone out there and then inflame a freaking riot and a shootout, how about if we give them Bundy women estrogen so that our men can man up and be as courageous as the Bundy women? What do you guys think?
Yeah. Good marketing device.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So Bundy female extract.
Yeah. Now, listen, lady, Vinny, this is what I want to say. Maybe you can comment on this. All right. This is not, I mean, they're going to make all, I can just hear Alex. He's always going to have a counter. Well, he's jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm really not. I'm so grateful for the coverage that Infowars.com supplemented with David Knight. I mean, it was a good thing. I never once said anything bad about what they were doing. We wanted him to do that. I honor the courage of the Infowars.com employees, the cameraman and David Knight. This is about me and Alex Jones spending many years trying to cause people and asking them to stay home and doing so through his reporting. He did it for the Washington, D.C. event. He wasn't at that event. He wasn't involved. And in fact, the only thing that Alex Jones covered with the Washington, D.C. truckers ride, we wanted a peaceful thing, and all the truck drivers wanted peace. He was out there telling everybody that truck drivers wanted to break the law, that there were going to be nukes delivered to the front steps of the White House, and that everybody should stay away because the National Guard was on the streets. That was his reporting prior to that event. His job is to keep you home, ladies and gentlemen. Our job is to resist that, to ignore him, and to ask Alex Jones to stop taking his little medication that he's selling there, and he needs to start taking some estrogen and freaking man up.
Yeah, well, you want my comments?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I agree with everything you just said, and I commend David Knight and his cameraman as well. I checked out their coverage, and it was really professional, and they had great balls doing what they did. But I'm still 2 years now PSYOP recovery from listening to InfoWars for 7 or 8 years, and I listened today because I listen to this guy Josh Tolley sometimes, and he's on right before Jones, and Jones is on an hour before you. Yeah. So I'll listen to him for an hour today. I got through about 8 minutes and had to turn it off because they start out with this big dramatized like production piece about some bullshit. I can't remember what it was. That's how insignificant it is compared to what's going on now after this whole Bundy thing. And I'm just like, this guy's got to get a clue. He's sold out. And he knows he's sold out. And I agree with Patrick. If he'd gone there, because I made a comment on the air last week when it was all going down, that where is he? Why isn't he there? And then now I think about it, I agree with Patrick. It's like, if he goes there, it's going to be all about him. You'd have to make an agreement with him that he would shut his fat mouth, put duct tape over his mouth for a few hours to shut him up, because he's going to make it all about him. And that's the problem now. It's all about, it's all about, what do you call it? Sucking off Willie Nelson and bone medicine and selling out to whoever he sold out to. Now that's all it's about.
But the main
and it's
message,
a shame because before I discovered Pete Santilli show and others, I was listening. He was my main thing. I was listening to him a lot, and I was scared. It worked because I was scared. That's his job. Mm-hmm. And now I listen to him, and it's like, shut up, fatso, and get your act together and stop being man up.
Here's the deal. The reason why I'm emphasizing this point is because I have an obligation to our listenership to say, be not afraid. Do not. If you hear people out there saying that really bad things are going to happen, well, really bad things are going to happen if we don't rise up peacefully as we did. Really bad things would have happened to the Bundy family. And those protesters, for that matter, if we had not had a citizenry that was forced to arm up to defend those people. Really bad things would have happened if we did not do exactly what we did at the battle at Bundy Ranch. That's even worse than what he's suggesting in order to keep us afraid and at home. Our listeners need to know that. Alex Jones needs to be called out just as much as Glenn Beck does. Now, Susanna Cole, will tell me all the time, you don't even need to mention his name. But I'm going to say something to Susanna and Patrick. And if you don't mind, Vinny, thank you very much for calling in. I'm going to go back to Patrick and to Susanna. We have to have this serious discussion. We're not going to we're criticizing Glenn Beck, and Alex Jones is criticizing Glenn Beck. Alex Jones should not be immune from the same level of criticism, okay, for doing the wrong thing on behalf of the American people. Don't you agree with that, Patrick?
Yeah, you know, and I also want to just point out, and I did point it out on the shows previous, that, you know, the reports about cell phone towers, all communications being shut down and all these sort of lies that were circulating, and that the made a meal out of this FAA no-fly zone. And I remember you on Ustream, Pete, you were talking to Charlie Brown. It was about 10 in the evening or something on the farm. And I love that guy, by the way. Oh, yeah. One of the brother-in-laws. I love that guy. He said, so what if there's a no-fly zone? He's all, you know, I'm not going to worry about drones. And so what point is it that there's an FAA no-fly zone over the Bundy Ranch? What are they going to bring the Air Force in and start firing missiles? No, they're not. Of course not. But so what's the point of even making such a big deal out of that? That there's so much more important stuff going on the ground, real tangible facts, real situations that are evolving, that's where your focus should be. And so you can't really call you can't call yourself press if you're doing that. You're just another media outlet. And guess what? There's a long list of media outlets, Pete. Media Matters, Glenn Beck, all these partisan media outlets that have all these spun agendas. And I think America's eventually going to get sick of them.
Yeah.
Or at least real America is. And they're just going to want real press coverage.
And Susanna, we've had the discussion. We don't need to come out for or against Alex Jones in order to fulfill our obligation to our listenership. I believe that our listenership deserves to know the stuff that we talk about back channel as to whether or not we need to call Alex Jones out for what he's doing. I think, Susanna, you'll agree with me that if it is with our listener in mind, that if it's not, this isn't going to be, I'm not going to dress up in a freaking Speedo and go mud wrestle with Alex Jones. I'm not going to do that. I'm calling for him to stop doing what he's doing, to show up at these events, put down his freaking bullhorn, and let's take care of business. Let's get out there and let's start doing some serious reporting, and let's encourage people to get out there in the face of tyranny, because it's going to be won if we encourage people to rise up in the masses, right?
Yeah, and I think, you know, my only problem with it is that it gives a perception to our listeners that there's this big there's a big conflict in alternative media, and there truly is, just like, you know.
Well, there is if
all families.
There is if there is a member that's not doing the right thing. There is a conflict, and it's okay to call people out, like Glenn Beck, right? It's okay. Glenn Beck has done some good things, and we've called him out for good things. But when he does something wrong, we have to be able to hold him accountable, including me. If I'm doing something stupid, I want to be called out for it. I want to encourage everyone to call me out if I'm doing something wrong. In a responsible position right now. I mean, we got a lot of listeners, a lot of people that are starved for information, and look to us to find out what our desires are. Well, do we want peace, or do we want to be provocateurs? You know, they want to see that. So, Patrick, you had a comment?
Yeah. Here's the other thing, Pete, is that, you know, people aren't aware of this. You listen to Alex Jones, you go to InfoWars to get the news. They have lots of content and news on this site, but they censor news. Alex has a policy where, and you could just look at who doesn't appear. Look at the recording, Pete, that you took that was fucking ballsy, I have to say. Your conversation with the head of the BLM, that was a Woodward and Bernstein move, okay, that was absolutely crazy and genius at the same time, and we're still trying to work out which. But basically, that InfoWars will not report anything that was coming off on the ground from you, and you broke a lot of very important stuff from the beginning there, and InfoWars will not ever publish anything from 21st Century Wire. I think they did once by accident last year, and there's other news outlets who he doesn't like, and he will not republish their stuff. He'll wait and see if it appears on another source. That's censorship, okay? If it's all about the information, if it's all about waking people up, and if that's what you're all about, as you say you are, then why don't you just open up the information gates that you've locked, okay? Because you yourself, by your own admission, say you are the media. On your show on Sunday, you said, we are the biggest, we are the media. Don't you get it? We're the media. And so if you're really the media, if you're the biggest, you've got the monopoly, you say you do, then let the information through, okay? The cruelty to animals story we ran yesterday, or the exclusive photographs that we did, you won't find any of that on InfoWars. And that is some of the most tangible, pithy stuff coming out of the Bundy story, okay?
That's right.
But for whatever reason, it's not allowed to appear on InfoWars, maybe because for competitive reasons, or Alex has his own personal reasons of who he's blacklisting. But that's not really openness in press and media. I will publish anything from anybody. I don't really care who it's from.
As long as it's the truth.
As long as it's accurate.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. So that's another point I'm going to throw out there, that, you know, some people say, whoa, we're this, we're that, and we're all the, you know, we're absolutely salt of the earth and we're the best out there. And this, but you're not, because you're censoring things. You're not letting information come forward. And that's to the detriment of your readers and your listeners at the end of the day. Those are the people who suffer from that kind of policy. But I'm saying this, that if you really want to open up, if you want to embody what supposedly the alternative media is about, then do it.
Yeah.
You know, and don't do what you're doing. That's all I'm going to say.
And ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong. Alex Jones will never be on my show. I will never subject our listeners to that level of brutality. I'd rather have you tased by the BLM than to have you subjected to Alex Jones in a shouting match with Pete Santilli. That's not going to happen. What I'm calling for is for Alex Jones to grow some balls and to ask his listeners, even despite his media reports that he has intelligence from Steve Pieczenik, the former CFR CIA member, okay? Steve Pieczenik could give him information that they've delivered a nuke to Bundy Ranch. And you know, Alex Jones needs to have the courage to say, if they're going to blow us up, we're all going to die free. We need to go there, and we need to show the entire world that we're prepared to die in this effort in defense of our liberties. He talks about what happened in 1776. Alex does. He screams on television about the Second Amendment with Piers Morgan. And then what does he do when it comes down to it? When 1776 becomes 2014 at the battle at Bundy Ranch, what did he do? He was nowhere to be found, and now he's writing articles convincing everyone to stand down and let them rape women. I'm calling upon Alex Jones to show up on the battlefield and to bring his tens of millions of listeners there without one bit of fear, regardless of what he finds out from Steve Pieczenik. Regardless.
You know, there's a lot of rhetoric going on, Pete, that this is going to become a trend, that people are going to start showing up with guns everywhere. You know,
that's not
protesting.
That's not bad.
Okay.
That's not bad. But go ahead.
Well, I don't think that's the case. I mean, I really don't, because you have to look how far the people were pushed to get them to do what they did out there. What they're all skipping over is that Mr. Bundy, we did an interview with him where he told us he needed help. He was surrounded by snipers.
Yes.
He was surrounded by helicopters.
Yes.
They were killing his cattle.
Yes.
He has a huge family, men, women, and really small children and babies. Every time they walked out the door, they had a gun pointed at them. The BLM started amping it up, where, you know, if one of the family members wanted to approach them, they became unapproachable. They became violent. They started tasing people, slamming people to the ground and you know what they did to Eamon Bundy? They actually, I don't know if it was Eamon. What was the very first one's name?
David Bundy.
David, yes.
David Bundy, yeah.
They pushed him to the ground and literally put a boot on the back of his neck.
Why?
They literally did that. Now, we had reports, and I have not delved into it, that somehow the BLM in that area had shot a young kid in the back.
Yep.
For riding a bicycle.
Yep. Red River.
In Red River. So
Yeah.
would that be in Texas?
No,
Probably.
that would have been, no, that's, I believe that's,
was it in Nevada?
I believe
Okay.
it's in Nevada. Yeah.
So when Mr. Bundy came on the show, look, we have people all the time coming to us with different things that they're going through with the government, for sure. And it's horrible. It's just absolutely horrible. But this was the first time that somebody had ever come to us in clear and present danger. Yeah. These people were in danger. They were surrounded. Mr. Bundy said, if I have to do this, I'll do it by myself. I'm a little bit afraid, he said. I'm a little bit afraid, but I'm willing to die. But I just, I don't, basically, he never even once said that he really needed anybody's help. He just wanted to get the word out in case something happened to his family, that he thought a Waco was coming there because he was not going to back down. And they were starting to escalate the violence. They started escalating that. And of course, the family's they're going to react to that. Who wouldn't? If you get pushed by somebody, aren't you going to push back? I mean, you're just going to. So yeah, it started amping up. We saw it as a threat to that family. There's a big difference between going and throwing rocks at buildings and breaking out windows in the city and screaming at buildings and waving flags in Washington, D.C. There's a big difference between that and one of your fellow Americans being surrounded by a militarized agency that is unconstitutional, So
Huge
we
difference.
felt there is, and we felt the calling. We felt the calling. Pete immediately after he got off of that interview said, this man is for real. He is really in trouble here. So Pete packed up his car. He made arrangements. We went on the fly from that minute forward. We never had any sleep. We stayed with the Bundys, continuously with the Bundys throughout the whole thing. So for all of these people who are coming now after they were armchair warriors, including alternative media out there, including mainstream media out there, who didn't put their asses on the line, along with Fox News, they put it on the line. I watched those guys stand right in the line of fire. They absolutely did. So did Pete Santilli. So did David Knight. So did all of the other media that were out there. Sheriff Mack.
Stuart Rhodes. The Bundy women.
And believe me, the militia put their ass on the line too. And I know that nobody likes to say militia because they've been demonized. But I am telling you, those boys out there and men, they put it on the line for the American citizens where it really counts. And not on the ground in a foreign country, but on the ground right here in America. They put it on the line for the Constitution and everything that America stands for.
Can I say something about the militia? Can I tell you? Okay, the militia to me, from I looked these guys in the eyes. I knew how freaking armed up they were. We together stood there as citizens who were forced to arm up. Citizenry was forced to arm up. That's what the militia meant to me at the battle at Bundy Ranch. And did you know that although we were one trigger pull away from a massacre, okay, as a result of their presence, I felt safer, that we weren't going to be, it wasn't going to be a one-sided slaughter, federal government shooting at me, okay, that we were prepared to mount a defense. And because of that, it broke peacefully. Because of that safety and security that I felt with my fellow citizens being armed up, prepared to defend the peaceful protesters with tremendous fire discipline. Okay? Tremendous. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable fire discipline. Not one shot was fired. The militia, to every single human being right now that's listening to my voice, should represent an armed citizenry that, because, and I'll say this, we don't even need a militia if we have a constitutional sheriff that's prepared to protect the citizenry.
You know what, people? I gotta ask you something, Pete. Did the people on the ground at that point and all throughout come up to you and ask you what church you went to, what your beliefs were? Did they ask you if you supported Occupy Wall Street, or were you a conservative? Were people worried about that on the ground? What your personal religious or political background was? Were they worried about it? Did anybody ever come up and ask you that?
You know, each individual character was shining through, okay? And Cliven Bundy, I'm going to tell this story, okay, was asked by the family members to go up to the camp and to isolate certain things. You know, some people, even I mean, I got to be honest to say that there were some citizens who were armed that were prepared for battle and were talking about what they were going to do just in case. And Cliven Bundy was asked to go up there and to tell them what to do and what not to do. And you know what he said?
What?
We are all free people here. God will watch over us. Everyone will do the right thing because I believe that everybody here has the right intention, right? And I'm not going to go up there and dictate what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. That'll all work out in the end. And you know what? In fact, it did. He did not impose his will through his leadership, though. He set a great example as an ambassador. He didn't say anything about shooting people up, ever.
No.
He said we have a right to assert our constitutional rights, our God-given rights. We'll be watched over by God. He believed that. He didn't even ask me if I believed in God, ever. I think I mentioned to somebody that I'm a recovering Roman Catholic, but I'll tell you what, through their example and through the spirit that I had in me out there, I mean, it's the God's honest truth. I mean, through their example, I became closer to God because it was obviously something else driving what was pushing, what was on display through that family.
Well, you know what the old saying is, Pete? There's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole. No such thing.
That's right. Let me take a couple more calls. We have just about 7 more minutes left. I think we're going to pop through real quick. Amos, I need a quick comment from you. I've got a bunch of callers I need to get through. Amos, quick comment. What's your comment?
Hey, Pete. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for taking the lead on that, and what you guys do, Patrick and Susan, and you really are. It's the perspective that you guys have given me over the time that I've been listening, which is about, I don't know, maybe 6-9 months now. It's just changed everything. Changed the way I look at everything. And, I wasn't aware of the way, Patrick gives the news. I mean, I was watching mainstream all the time. So, I mean, that's why I'm a contributor. And that's why, I continue to listen to you. And, and what Susan's talking about, this, the fear thing. I mean, man, I'm doing this thing with, OAS, Operation American Spring. And, they're sending me stuff because I put this thing out about Bundy Ranch right away. Like, hey, people need help.
Right.
And then all this stuff starts coming in like, oh, hey, they're going to, there's going to be, a firefight out there. There's going to be this. And some of these people sound incredible. As a matter of fact, Colonel Riley even sent something in there. So I put it up on your Facebook page thinking, gee, maybe this is a message that they need to see. And in the end, it was all, I don't know. I'm sure he got bad information. I don't think he's a bad guy or anything, but that kind of, changed my perspective. I can see what's going on a little bit more, and that's what's been happening all along since I've been listening to you. So
thank you so much.
I just want to say thanks.
Everything. Thank you. I'm gonna actually go to the next one. Amos, thank you so much. You guys,
Amos is awesome. He is a great supporter.
Yes,
thank you, Amos.
I'm not going to be cutting you off, but I am going to be cutting you off. 970 area code. Quick comment. What's your comment? What's your first name first?
David.
David, what's your comment?
From Colorado.
What's up, David? What's your comment? Quickly.
My comment is thank you. You guys are an inspiration. I'm just going to leave it at that. Simple as that. Thank you. Thank you for hanging with us. And 760 area code. You're within my general range. I think. Don't get too close to me. I'm just kidding. No, don't worry about that. Be not afraid. What's your first name? 760. 760 area code. What's your first name? 760 area code is going to be dropped. There we go. We got 956 area code. What's your first name? What's your comment?
Hello.
What's your first name?
Victor. I'm calling about the guy that mentioned about the TIs. Go petition. There's a petition there since 2010 against the military and intelligence agencies. Use of organized stalking and electronic torture. There's 2,000 people on this list, and you should read the comments of these people. This country is being destroyed, and everybody's silenced. And about Alex Jones, yes, you're right. This guy's been covering this and stopping this from coming out. I sent this guy letters, and for all I know, he had the Secret Service sent to my house. So I wouldn't post this on his website. You're absolutely right. God bless you all, and we're in the fight.
God bless you, too. Thank you for all your support. We got Roy in Tennessee. Roy, what's your quick comment, sir? Thank you very much for your support as well, sir.
You're welcome, Pete. You know, the name's of William Cooper. He called it right with Alex Jones. He said he was a Jesuit plant, and the man was right, you know.
He can change his ways. Alex, this is what I do want to call upon Alex Jones to do, and I mean this sincerely. Alex Jones can just change. He can stop telling people to stay home, and he can get off his ass and get out there in the front lines, set his bullhorn down, stop making it about him, and start encouraging people to take back our country. He needs to do that. He can totally and
Wouldn't
completely
it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be wonderful, Pete, if he did? Hey, keep up the fight, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Roy.
Thank you. We got one last caller here, and then we're going to wrap it up. Nemo, quick comment, dude. Last caller.
Hey, man, last month, like a month and a week ago, a 20-year-old kid was shot in that area of Nevada by BLM agents. It was the first time they killed someone. They stunned him a few times, and he was, like, running around. I guess they thought he was going to run into a car, and they shot and killed him, a 20-year-old kid. I just wanted to say, like, that's the type of seriousness on that level that this is on, and people should definitely support this. There's like 20 different reasons why you want to go support this. There's like cows, what they're doing to there, what freaking Harry Reid's doing with all this freaking, it's crazy. There's like so many different files and videos, and people need to just like stop everything and just focus on this for a while.
That's right. That's right. We will. Man. Thank you very much.
Good show. Take care of everything, man.
So I think I got it framed up just right. Instead of a wet T-shirt contest with Piers Morgan in a mud wrestling contest, maybe I should challenge Alex Jones to go out onto the battlefield and get tased by the federal government. See if
you know.
What do you think?
You know what I think we should challenge people to do, Pete, and I'm saying this with all honesty, and this is where my heart is. I really do believe that people should start protesting the government, petitioning the government to demilitarize these agencies, demilitarize the IRS.
That's right.
Demilitarize the BLM.
That's right.
Please, we cannot let this get any worse than it already is. They need to lay down their weapons
and file a restraining order against them if they're coming at you with guns, like Traficant said.
That's right.
Okay. If you want also to support GMN, you can purchase Luke Azana's CD on our website. He's actually offered them up to us, and we get a small portion of the profits. If you purchase it, go to Music by Luke Azana at GorillaMediaNetwork.com. Purchase a CD. Here's his song, Don't Tread on Us, to see us out here until tomorrow. That concludes this overtime episode. We'll see you first thing in the morning, ladies and gentlemen.